Welcome to the Independent Characters, episode 178. This is Carl.
This is Austin.
This is Justin.
And this is Adon.
And I want to thank you guys for joining us for this Warrior Lodge episode, since we weren't quite sure on the scheduling until almost the last minute. So thank you so much. Oh, literally almost. So
and
it's 3:30, right?
Yeah, that was my mistake.
No, 5, right? What, 5? I don't know.
3:30 is when I had to leave the house.
I'm gonna
Details.
set it up now as events.
Yeah.
So, okay. Anyway, if you aren't familiar with our Warrior Lodge episodes, they are an episode where we pick several topics, either from the community or topics we've come up with that we think are kind of things personal to us or things that are going on in the larger Warhammer 40K community. And we have a moderated discussion around each of these topics. And that's about it.
But, but it's not like Jerry Springer.
No, this episode might.
It got a little Jerry Springer at points.
All that being said, we do have a very long hobby progress games played section.
Sorry, Mullins.
Lot of so Mullins, you're gonna skip about an hour
and a half,
20,
yeah, give or take,
and then you can listen to the rest of the show. But a lot of things discussed in that hobby progress section, and
that weren't hobby progress.
A lot of games we've been playing lately,
a lot of cool things,
and a lot of cool stuff going on. So if you like the hobby progress section, you're in for a treat because there's a lot there. And then I think the discussion works out really well for the Warrior Lodge section. So you're in for a treat. We hope you enjoy the show. Our next one is planned to come out in about 2 weeks.
Might be a show of force.
It is going to be a show of force. So
maybe
it is. You guys are going to have to start prepping. So
2 weeks.
We'll just fire right through it. Okay. You played against them.
Well, yeah, but I got to do a lot of reading.
All right. Well, anyway, we hope you enjoy the show. You guys have anything you want to add before we kind of kick it off?
No, other than got to shout out CK Studios.
Yep.
Got to do it.
They got a commercial.
That's true.
Okay, yeah.
That's true. That's true.
Shut up. It's fine.
Get back to your airbrush cave.
We love Cat and Caleb, CK Studios. We love KR Multicase.
We love Lords and Heroes podcast.
Yes.
Who? And
right,
we love
Lords
Table
and
War,
Heroes.
and we
Table
love
War,
Wargamma.com. So.
And we love having fun, embracing this hobby.
This is a great
that
episode.
we're into.
There's a lot of fun in this episode. There's a lot of laughing. So hopefully you can.
Can you lend me a lieutenant? I need an extra.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Wargamma.com, where you can get resin terrain, craters, lakes, lava pools, and objectives, figure bases for all types of models, character models including Battle Wolf war mounts and spawn seeds, linked barricades. Choose from one of 6 designs to suit the origins of your army, from Star Pharaoh, Spawn Hive, Mechanoid, Dark Ancients, Dradelian Noble, and Chromag Scrapyard. Linked barricade sets include 12 large shields, which are 2 inches wide, and 4 connecting walls. Cover nearly a 30-inch line. Sets also include a matching multi-gun turret. Wargamma.com. Alternative battle miniatures. All right, so as usual, we're going to kick it off with a little bit of hobby progress. And we decided to go in alphabetical order this time by first name. So, Adon, you are first. What have you been working on, buddy?
It's a good thing it's a little bit of hobby progress. That perfectly describes where I'm at with this. I bought the Spear of the Emperor limited edition.
Yep. Me too.
I saw that come out. I was like, oh,
Did yours arrive yet?
What? No.
Oh, I was hoping mine was
I saw
going to
some
be here.
pictures on
No.
But
But what happened?
Did you now?
Yeah.
Was that on the Facebook group?
Blame
so,
Dembski
yeah.
Bowden, huh?
Yeah, Aaron Dembski Bowden, I guess he tweeted it out early morning. I woke up, and before I even brewed my coffee, I was like, oh, no, I got to do this right now.
Yeah,
Because I didn't want to miss out on it. So I got it, and it looks cool, and I can't wait. So, yeah, I got that. I got back back to my bases project for my chapter.
Uh-huh.
And I have like 350 of those Sector Imperialis bases. And I have
It's
100
cheaper than the Dragon Forge ones, I'll tell you that.
Yeah. No, they're actually a really good deal.
Yeah, they're fantastic.
For those boxes. And so I primed a bunch of them, and I have about 160, 150 or so primed. And then I spent a whole lot of time today, I mean like hours, going through and dry brushing a bunch of the ones that had metal And then the ones that have concrete on them, I was like, oh, concrete, how do I want to do that? And so I tried a couple different things, but the airbrush is just an amazing tool. So airbrushed a bunch of stuff. I don't know how many I did, but I've done a lot of bases today. And still got some more to go.
All your base art belongs to us?
They do belong to me, yes. And so I still have 3 boxes to prime and do, but yeah, a lot of bases to go. So worked a lot on that. That means I had to like clip the bases off of the older Marines. Do I want to do the keeper, take off the rim and just glue them on the thing, or do I want to actually take them completely off? And so that's a really tedious job. Spent a bunch of time on that.
Yep.
Do it right.
Yeah.
That's what I say.
Yep.
Yeah. And so then...
Unless you're an orc player.
And then do it orky.
And then just do it again.
The method that Justin... And a lot of people use it, but Justin recently talked about it, where you just clip off the edge of the 25 mil base and glue it on top of the 32 and build around it.
Yeah, retexture. Yep.
Yeah, it's a quick way to do it depending on how you textured your bases originally. It just wasn't going to work for what I have.
It's not going to work for the type you're doing.
Right.
Yeah, well, the other thing is that I have a bunch of slaughter bases with Marines that are slaughter Marines, and so that's going to be interesting.
I tend to just clip the slaughter
That's what I'm going to end up
off
doing.
Anyway. So.
Yeah.
Or literally just break it in two if you have a
tab. And then what I was going to do, and then you can use the tabs almost like pins.
You can.
I've done that before too. And then I was going to resist. I thought I'd resisted. Justin and I had talked about this before, and I was like, I don't think I'm going to buy it, but I bought Blackstone Fortress.
Okay, good choice.
Now, do you plan on A, using all that, and then B, actually playing the game? Or
the game is supposed to be great.
Yes and yes.
Everybody I know who has played it says it's fantastic.
So Warhammer Quest... So they had Warhammer Quest Silver Tower,
and
Warhammer Quest Blackstone Fortress. What I don't know is if you can cross use stuff. You can't. Okay, so that's too bad. But I like the idea.
2 separate games.
Right.
I like the idea that they're doing this Warhammer Quest with different kind of unique models in each line. So hopefully they keep doing that within each line. That would be pretty cool.
So what was the reason, or what was the thing that said I need to own this?
Well, at first. It was some of the models, like the Navigator dude, I thought was pretty cool.
Right.
But what really pushed me over the edge was when they said they was going to have kill team profiles for them.
Okay, yeah.
And I was
good
like,
reason.
Okay, well, now they're more than just cool models that might go to a game that I might not ever play, right? Because they don't really slot into an army very well. There's no like Agents of the Imperium Codex or anything like that.
Yet.
And
give them a week.
And so if they, A, give them kill team profiles, and then maybe B, expand on the mini codex they did for the Rogue Traders in the
kill team
Rogue Trader thing, then score, right?
Yeah,
and so I thought, well, now it's more than just a bunch of cool models that I'm not going to paint very well.
It's actually pretty impressive. They came out with not only 40K rules for them, kill team rules, and the Blackstone Fortress rules. I think it's a good purchase. I mean, like I said, the game's supposed to be awesome. I'm about half done assembling my stuff. I got sidetracked by other hobby stuff, but
many good sculpts.
Mine hasn't delivered yet.
So good.
I bought it as part of a Black Friday thing.
Yeah.
So
I've got all the hero guys assembled. I've got some of the enemy guys assembled, but the thing I'm actually excited about is the cultists in it, or the Trader Guard.
The Trader Guard.
Yeah, which I'm going to start mixing in with my cultists for Thousand
nice.
Sons.
Well, the other thing that is the Beastmen, the sci-fi Beastmen guys.
And they're Corngors too, right?
What's that?
Aren't they Corngors? Like they're cornate?
I'm
pretty sure they are.
They may be.
I don't know. It's just the fact that they have Beastmen in 40K.
Which means
they have
Pestigors and
Beastmen in 40K.
Slangors.
Zangors are
one
Beastmen.
day.
Well, yeah, I guess so. But I think of them as demons. I don't know why. I know they're not demons, but
They're Beastmen. Yeah.
I know. But anyway, I thought that was cool. So, but the kill team is what pushed me over the top on that. I bought a drone remote and a turret, and a Tau turret, thingy for Tau kill team that I was thinking about putting together, because I'm gonna do kill team at Adepticon, and I thought, I want to do. I actually want to like practice and maybe actually kind of do well. So I'm looking at either Death Watch or Tau. I think they both have really strong lists. I think that remote can do some serious damage. I'm watching the stuff that's going on with our kill team campaign, and the Tau player I think is undefeated in like, I don't know, it's like a dozen games. So I was like, that looks like a decent list. But the Death Watch are just filthy. They're just so dirty.
Seems like a lot of kill teams, from what I hear, are kind of filthy, which is good. You know, I mean, I hear Plague Marines are nasty, Harlequins are nasty.
Yeah, well, the Harlequins.
I've had pretty good luck with my 1,000 Suns. I'll be
There you
honest.
go.
So.
Yeah, I mean, the Harlequins died a nasty death to the Tau player. Like, I mean, they couldn't even get halfway across the board. So
That's actually impressive.
Yeah, I mean,
because the Harlequins should be across the board almost turn one.
Right, I know. I mean, that's what I'm just saying. Is that the Tau stuff seems really, really strong. Anyway, I want to try something that's a little bit different than just the Primaris Reavers that I had with the Scouts, and so I bought some Tau stuff to go with that, so I can start playing around with different lists and because all my Tau stuff was old, and the turret and the drone and the remote are both newer additions to that army. So I just bought them as bits.
Okay.
So
Cool.
that's
That's you?
it's all been bases. Yeah.
That's you.
Yeah.
But also, you registered for Adepticon.
I did.
Austin, you registered for Adepticon.
I'm in.
Justin's not
Justin.
going to Adepticon this year.
I
Well,
don't-
you might be.
you're not.
I might be. I don't know.
But you'd be
A lot of
going
stuff in
as
the
an
pipeline.
instructor.
Oh, as an instructor,
More-
yeah.
more
CK
than likely,
instructor,
yeah.
Nice.
That would be cool. I mean, the first time that I went as a booth monkey for Zombie Smith. So what the hell?
So you had a pretty bad experience registering for Adepticon this year.
I wasn't going to bring it up.
Oh,
but
you can bring it up. That's
yeah,
fine.
I guess we can.
I had an
talk about
okay
it.
experience. I mean, I didn't get a VIG package.
Yeah.
And I'm like 540th on the waiting list. So I'm not getting a VIG package. But you know what? I've got one every year. And you and I talked about the VIG thing specifically. And it's like,
Fitting it all.
well, I mean, getting it all home is one thing. But also, I haven't played any of the games that I got as the VIG thing last year. I mean, it's cool to get them. But you're like, so in a way, I'm like, well, okay. I mean, there's benefits to it for sure. You get the quick registration line and all that. But for me, it wasn't that big. Of a deal.
Yeah, I think there's a big FOMO factor with the VIG, and so I think that's
For those who don't know, it's fear of missing out.
Yeah, sorry. And I think that kind of drove me some of the time. I was like, I got to get this. I got to be one of the people who gets it. And I don't want. We're a positive show. We don't hate. We have disappointment, but we don't. We're not negative.
It doesn't mean things don't go wrong, and we don't talk about them.
Yeah. So, there's a lot of elements of it that didn't settle well with me, but it's just it was largely my experience because a lot of people had a really good experience with it, and I don't know what happened, but when I had put all my stuff in the cart and went to go check out, it said
You can't check out.
You can't check out because something was already sold out.
But you know this. This has been the same every year.
Well, no. But I was like, okay, well, fine. Then I should be on the wait list, right? And then
Yeah, it should automatically
It
let you.
should bounce
but
you
it
to the
didn't.
wait list.
I
No.
had to actually go back in, remove the things from the cart, go back in, and then when I went back in, there was other stuff that had filled up.
But again, you know this. You know this. This is why you pick the two things that you need. I want this. I want that. Boom. You check out, and then you go back and
I
add
tried,
things.
but the way that the site was loading when I went to go, because I use like Control F so I can just search down quick to where I want to find the thing.
Yeah.
The website was loading so slowly that when I tried to type stuff in, it would type in one letter, find that one letter, and then go back up to the search box. And it was the way that the site was loading was really weird, and so it wasn't
did not have
working.
that issue.
And I got delayed, and so there was a bunch of stuff
that you didn't get in. But you got in a kill team.
Yeah, it was one of the more frustrating experiences I've had in the last 5 years, just in general. So I was.
Which day are
I'm
you
sorry.
teaming?
Here's the thing. I'm sorry you had that experience. That's
I mean,
what I would say.
You know,
My
the
experience
ground- the
was
grand
fine. I checked into the two things that I wanted, but then like you, some things I wanted were sold out like super fast.
Right.
I was like, we didn't
But
get
see-
into the
The Space Hulk.
Space
Hulk.
Hulk thing we normally get into.
Right, and so again, normally if I don't get into something, I get on the wait list. I'm like, okay, I'm on the wait list. No big deal. But it wouldn't even let me check out because it was full, which was weird. Right, because other stuff, it put me on the wait list. I was like, okay, cool.
But it's and I agree it should do that,
yeah,
but it's never done that in the past.
it's always done that in the past.
It
for
has
me.
not. It
Well,
has not.
for me,
How?
my experience have been, if I log in for something and I go to buy it and it's full, it automatically puts me on the wait list, and it's no big deal. It doesn't
I've
prevent
never
me from
seen
checking
it do
out.
that. That's interesting. I've never had it do that. It's always failed to check out, and you have to go drop the thing that's checked out, and that's what causes people frustration. That's what they've said.
Then how do you
year
end up on a
after
wait
year.
list?
You go and you add yourself to the wait list after it's sold out.
Oh no! See, the other stuff that was sold out, it automatically put me on the wait list.
yeah.
It was just a couple. It was just
Maybe
the
I'm misunderstanding.
It was just the Duncan classes that wouldn't do it. The other stuff would put me automatically on the wait list.
Maybe that's for a
Yeah,
reason.
I don't know. Maybe Duncan. Maybe he
he's
put a
like-
thing in. I can't take his classes anymore. That could be.
He's like, I don't want this guy in there
Yeah.
anymore.
He's gonna make more collectible cards.
I saw his
on him.
I saw his plague bearer.
Oh,
That was actually the one I did. That was
Your
good.
plague bearer looks good. I'm
Feeling it was
totally
good.
giving you
My
a hard
marine,
time.
my power
What was it?
sword
Because he
looked
said
bad.
something to your about your the Keratin Overlord guy that you painted. He made some comment. And you always bring it up.
Oh, no, it was the power sword.
Oh, the power sword.
The power sword. He came over. He goes, so it's a tech. It's a technique that takes practice.
I feel so bad about that.
Oh my god!
Anyway.
But no, he was. What a great sport. I mean, he read those cards for me on camera. He was
So,
really good.
Austin, let's go over to you. Hobby
Okay.
Progress.
Yeah.
You also signed up for Adepticon.
I got
Let's
in.
start there.
And I'll tell you what, my experience was pretty easy, minus a few, I think, circumstantial situations of not being in a place with Wi-Fi, and then also trying to purchase on my phone, which presented another struggle.
that's
But
always a problem.
That's dangerous.
Yeah. So as I was sitting there with family over the holidays, my wife was seeing frustration on my face because of no Wi-Fi, and just going through the same thing as you, Adon, is kind of getting bounced around on the website. But in any event, I got tickets. I signed up for the Gallant GT, which to my knowledge, I think is the Gentleman's Friendly. It's now renamed.
Well, there's still a
There's a friendly.
tournament. This is something different though.
Oh,
and when I
okay.
saw that you and I think Ian signed up for
Yeah,
it, I was
yeah.
like, oh, I'll sign up for it. I'm on the wait list.
Nice.
So, but that is
So it's like 75 power level,
it's 75 power level. It says new and experienced
new and
players.
experience, friendly environment.
Yes.
75 power level, I thought was kind of strange.
But this was the thing I think I told you about, Adon, and you said, oh, but that's like 10 hours or something like that.
That's really long.
And I was like, oh, yeah, it is. But it's like 3 games over 10 hours. So it's
that I
like-
think I can do, right?
Yeah, it's like
and
you
I
do a
think
game, you leave.
I
you
wonder,
come
are they
back.
going to pair people up so they end up with 150 per side?
No, it's.
I think
70
it's 1v1.
individual.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's for people who are just kind of getting into it, and obviously, since they're using power level, it's
a little bit low
looser.
key.
Yeah.
Well, I hope that it's more friendly than some of the experiences that have happened in the friendly.
Oh, you're full of positivity today.
Yeah, geez, Adon.
I just want to.
Well, I'll tell you what,
I
Adon.
wasn't going to talk about it, okay?
Adon, this will, let's segue into this. This will be my actual first event.
Oh,
So
fantastic.
setting the stage for me.
All right.
Yeah. So
cool.
I think this, we'll probably talk about this here later, but one of my goals for 2019 is to try something new for the hobby,
Excellent.
and that would be, I think, an event. So other than that, I
You want to
signed
try
up
something
for.
new? Let's talk about Age of Sigmar. No, I'm sorry.
We can later. Yeah.
don't do it.
my house.
Yeah. Other than so I signed up for the GT. I also signed up for a waitlisted Kill Team Friday event. We'll see if that happens. But other than that, I'm pretty much just hanging out. So if folks want to get open games going on,
Cool.
I'll be around.
Nice.
So. But other than Adepticon, I've been battling a case of hobby attention problems. I've been kind of.
You're in the right place, my
Yeah.
friend.
I know. I've been all over. Yeah, squirrel.
I don't know what you guys are talking
I've
about.
been all over the place, I feel like. Past 2 months, I've been doing a lot of experimenting with paints, airbrush, inks, and things like that.
Well, you also inherited a huge army, which I don't know if.
Yeah.
Obviously, Carl talked about that.
Yeah,
but I don't.
You're
know
the
if-
person who purchased the. Well,
That was me.
No.
Your
Well,
wife- your wife
it was
just-
not me. It was not me. It was my wife, yes. Pretty awesome anniversary gift.
That's amazing.
I just bought her a coat. So, it wasn't, there was a little bit of a letdown.
You didn't buy her
No,
two.
she
You
was-
didn't buy her two thin coats.
Yeah, 2 thin coats. There we go. Got to fit a joke in there. Awesome surprise. You guys heard it on the last episode on how it kind of transpired.
Right.
I was in complete shock.
Yeah.
I was about to walk the army to some random guy's house that lives not too far from me. Thanks, Carl. But the cool thing about this army, not only is it a huge army, but it's really well painted, especially the troops. But there's some units and models out there that are not yet built, not fully painted, so I can add my own touches to that
For
too,
sure.
which is pretty
And
cool.
listen, I will not take offense if you repaint over things like okay, whatever,
I will.
But I'll also give you the recipe I used.
Yeah, that would be
But,
great. What I like is there's several vehicles that are unpainted, and leading into my next thing that I purchased a ticket to CK Studios Airbrushing 101.
Attaboy.
Yeah. Taught by Justin.
Justin practice 101.
Yeah. I'll come with
training wheels.
Basket full of tomatoes to throw at you.
They'll have the rollerblades on.
So yeah. So I think post class out of that 101 class, I think those vehicles would be good practice for airbrushing. So I'm looking forward to that.
Learn a lot. Yeah, you're gonna learn a lot.
And the thing you'll learn too is like if you make mistakes, you just go over them. I mean, it's
I mean, it's just one
nothing
thin
to
layer
get
of
worried
paint,
about,
and you can
right.
go right over it, really. So, the cool thing is I've been airbrushing since I pretty much got into painting miniatures from the start. So, I'm going to be coming to this class full of bad habits. So I look forward to you correcting me and realigning me.
The first hour of the class is some of the best.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Ever. It's
just
like
troubleshooting, cleaning is
so
I
helpful.
think
And
probably
you
the most
did buy
helpful
yourself
thing.
an evolution too, right?
I did. Wow. So
good.
yeah, my
That brush
hobby
is so
progress
good.
has been a lot of purchasing, unfortunately, at this point.
You're in a good place.
I'm in a safe place. I'm in a safe place
At
right
least
now.
with these
so,
two guys, you're in the perfect spot.
So
Whatever.
So with the class, they
Brian
give you.
Harvey used to complain about.
I
When
make
he came on the show
no-
and talked about everything he bought. And he's like, "What happened?"
It's okay. I have purchases too. It's insidious.
I make no apologies.
Nope.
So what I've got right now is I'm using a Chrome and also a Sotar.
Both great
but
brushes. Yeah.
They are really good, and they do good things. But after messing around with the Evolution a few weeks back when we picked up the Army, Kat and Caleb were over, and I got to kind of take one out for a test drive, not plug in, but. Boy, that thing is!
Sexy
Oh my
brushes,
god!
aren't they?
Oh my god!
They're really nice.
It's like a BMW.
Oh,
It's
wow.
it's
It's
smooth.
German.
German made.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
Steinbeck. Steinbeck.
So other than that, other
We
purchase.
have ways of making you paint.
Oh my goodness.
Such marvelous ways.
So I think when I get to the class, I think probably that'll be the brush strat I'm going to go right in.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
do so.
Yeah, do that.
I'm going to be learning it as I'm just fresh into airbrushing.
Sure.
So pretty excited about that. Another big thing I did, I traded my buddy Ian a bunch of Dusty Stormcast Eternal models for a bunch of Custodes, codecs, data cards.
Beautiful.
So basically you
handful
just-
of models, which then led to me buying 3 boxes of jet bikes.
Nice.
And then a Telemon Dreadnought.
Yes.
So,
you have
I kind
200
of feel
power
like I'm
level
on like the
Custodes
therapy
now.
bench right now at this point, but
They're so good. I've been
They
playing
are.
against them quite a bit. They are so good.
It-
And it's
it-
such a low model count army that like you
Which
can
I also
bang it out
appreciate,
in a
yeah.
month and be done with it. And
that's like my 2019. That's going to be my post CK 101.
sweet.
And those jet bikes are probably my favorite model
They
in
are
the GW range,
epic.
I think, at
Yeah,
this
they
point.
are absolutely epic. Yeah.
Other than that, I've read a couple books that are, probably 10 years. I'm kind of 10 years behind the curve. Read Descent of Angels from Horse Heresy,
Is that
which
the second?
it's like
Bloody,
book 6 or
second,
7.
a Dark Angels one, or is that
First
the
one.
Oh,
first
so that's the one where it's all they're clearing the planet all giant.
Yeah, I didn't.
Now, are you doing
I
audible?
like that
super,
book.
super
book.
not a fan of it.
Not a fan either. But hey.
But in
I'm
turn,
glad-
I also read Malleus and pretty much wrapping up Hereticus.
That's
The second and third of the Eisenhorn,
Eisenhorn series.
Eisenhorn.
Yeah.
which on the other hand is super rad. Yeah,
Well,
really
where
good.
Where do you move into Ravener after that?
Yeah.
Ravener's
Oh yeah.
Fantastic.
Oh yeah. I like Dan Abnett too. And the cool thing is Legion's next, I think, for the Horse Heresy
Yes.
after Descent of Angels, which I'm like,
Read
Yes.
Legion and let's. I'm very curious as to what your opinion of Legion is.
okay. Yeah, we'll
There's-
do.
It,
We'll
it
do.
tends to be people tend to be away on extremes on that book.
So I'll be curious to
Yeah.
see what you think of it.
Okay.
I need to go back and read it again. Actually,
There's some strong opinions on both sides.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I look forward to it. I like Dan Abnett a lot. So yeah, but that's been me for the past
Okay.
month or
Exciting
so.
stuff.
Yeah,
Nice.
a lot going on.
so I've been assembling Blackstone Fortress models, which, as you mentioned, are fantastic.
Jelly.
Justin, I mean, they're just beautiful models. I painted and based Magnus the Red. I finally finished.
Dude,
him
it
up.
looks so good.
I have a couple little details on him I still want to do, but he's, as you would say, Justin,
Tabletop.
he's fine. He's tabletop.
Way better than tabletop. He's so good.
Yeah, and I actually used him, and I'll talk about that in a little bit.
Oh yeah.
And why I won't use him very often.
Nah.
And I've been painting up terrain. I after seeing Brian
Dude,
working on all his
Inspirational, right?
Yeah.
terrain, that guy's so good at painting terrain. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna at least get these things a little more done.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd started for
And you've had those for how many years? Just
years. Well,
I mean,
I had actually painted them different colors before, and then
Right.
primed over them
Yeah.
after I went to Warhammer World and saw kind of how they did theirs.
Right.
And then I came back with ideas of doing that. And mine, they've been kind of painted up. There's gray with some tan on it. And now I've done the doors. My thing with terrain is, and I think Austin, you and I were talking about this a little bit, is I don't like to do all the detail work on this terrain because I feel like it overshadows the armies.
you want it to
on
be the
table.
backdrop for
Right.
the game.
It's the
Right.
backdrop,
not
yeah.
the actual focal point. yeah.
And you could spend 6 months just doing all the doodads on all the because that GW terrain is so detailed.
I don't think there's anything wrong with people, obviously that like
Yeah.
that's their forte,
Sure.
and they add the little like cutout posters and
Oh, it's
like the
impressive.
trash.
That's really
and,
cool,
like that's
yeah.
awesome, but I think it's one of those projects that it takes little work to make look really cool as a backdrop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a
Right.
great way of summarizing it, I think. So
And you don't really want to pull away from the models.
that's
Yeah.
that's exactly
So-
what I'm saying.
And
So-
with the new book coming out with the city fight
yeah,
campaign stuff.
what is it called? I can't remember what the title of it is.
Urban Killy
Urban
Death.
Conquest?
Urban destruction or urban
We'll get to
Yes.
it. Anyway,
That thing. Really
that
cool.
campaign system looks really cool. But because I finally got back some of the terrain that, from you, Justin.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
for the desert stuff, and then I put my desert stuff, and I'd gotten the Table War desert terrain mat
Yep.
for my table, so I all had that, and then I was like, oh man, I have these craters. I should just paint these up real quick. So I used my airbrush and painted up a few craters to match all that, and then I saw, well, I don't want them to just be this table. How does it look on like my
Right.
table with forest and stuff on? Oh, those look great there too. Okay, perfect. So I painted up a bunch of those.
It probably
Just-
took an evening
Nice.
or two. Yeah,
it didn't
super
even take-
quick.
It took
Yeah.
a couple hours.
There you
If
go.
You could
that.
throw some dusty weathering powders over that stuff
No,
too.
I don't bother with it, but I did use the
inks.
the Dalaroni
Yeah.
inks,
Yeah.
and you were like 110,000% right on that stuff. I mean, it's almost like cheating.
So let me
I
ask
feel
you a
like
question. So when did you start with the Dalaroni? Did you just do the base colors?
No.
Or...
So I did two different browns on
Okay.
them. I did like a lighter brown initially, and then a darker brown in like the recesses that kind of spilled over a little bit, and then I just used the Dalaroni inks.
like
the-
an umber or a sepia or
just
something.
I used the umber,
Yep.
and just to flesh out a little
Yeah.
more in places.
They're great
And-
for adding like volume and depth and shadow
Yep.
to,
Yeah,
to
sure.
whatever.
Yeah.
So it breaks up the monotony of just a flat surface.
Oh, for sure.
And the reason I'm asking, I was looking at them on Blick's website. You can get sets of base colors. You can get metals. You can get, I think, even the neon too. So I'm,
I think just the base colors.
just base colors is where the red.
and I'm-
and paint's gray.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sepia,
that's what I need to try
umber, Payne's gray, and then like the dark purple.
Purple Lake.
Yeah,
Okay.
and the really dark
I
red.
just got the olive.
Yeah.
From Amazon and
Yeah, the really dark red is really good too.
Okay,
Yeah, so
cool.
I mean, really, it's when washes came out from GW, and like everybody was like, "Oh, Agrax Earthshade is like the best thing
None
since
oil.
sliced bread, and Nuln oil is the best."
Yeah.
I feel like this is like yet another one of those. Oh, it's almost cheating to use. It's so great at breaking up.
I'd be curious to see too. Try getting some basic mixing medium.
Yep.
And making your own washes with it. Like that's something I've been doing a whole lot of.
Yeah.
So you throw like a pile of medium on your palette, on your wet palette, which you should be using, and then just a drop or two of whatever color you're trying to make a wash of, and it's just like the best wash
the ink
of
to
the
make
ink.
a
You
wash?
just drip it right in there.
Oh, nice.
Depending on your saturation, you could do like one drop for every
Sure.
however you
Whatever you're
experiment with
trying
it.
to get, yeah.
It makes amazing washes.
Interesting.
And it doesn't coffee stain as much as like traditional washes,
Yeah.
where it like kind of just gets that kind of where it dries.
Right.
You got to be
Yeah,
a little
yeah.
careful. Yeah.
Yeah, you still don't want to slather it on,
Right.
but it's really good stuff.
But those inks that have an airbrush,
They are
just
fantastic.
money.
yeah, through the airbrush, it's
They're money.
Like Carl
It does
said,
require a
it's
little
like
bit of
cheating.
cleaning of the airbrush, like once you use them. I mean, they're. I found
They can actually stain your cup a little bit.
I
Yep.
found that they stain
Yep.
the cup a little bit.
Yeah.
But,
Okay.
if you're
Alcohol,
you can end up getting out with
Q-tip.
the alcohol
Yep,
stuff.
yep,
Yeah.
yep.
So really, I'm really glad you pushed those so hard, Justin, because once I tried them, I was like, oh my God, I'm sold.
Yep,
The
yep.
thing is, I bought the bigger bottles of them, and they don't come with an eyedropper thing. for the
right,
bigger bottles.
right,
So I
right.
got to go buy an eyedropper thing so I can transfer them, because I transfer them just to little eyedropper bottles.
Right. Yeah.
Which is much safer to work with.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, you're going to see a post from me on our group of me spilling a 10-ounce
Oh
Dalaran.
God. That would be enough to really. Oh yeah.
That'd be enough to send some people over the edge. Okay, so I did some base testing for the Minotaurs. You and I kind of stumbled across. Oh yeah, that looks pretty good. And I painted up the Minotaur.
I got to see that. How did that work out? Shooting some shadows in and
Yeah, it worked okay. It wasn't as good as the one you did initially. Like I overdid the gray, so I want to go back and kind of try to replicate again.
The
It's just
bases
gonna take
you're
a
talking
little-
about.
The bases.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but I did the Minotaur character Dreadnought, which I really like. Like he came out good. Not my best work, but first time kind of working with those.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
pretty happy with the way that went.
Well, you got a whole lot of them to practice on.
Yep, I sure do. But I did, because you and Caleb and I had sat there and talked about using those on the infantry guys, the Primaris Marines.
Right.
And so I did a little bit of that. Not as much as the way Caleb had done his example ones. Like I actually wasn't super fond of just how much he had done on, but it did make a difference. Like you said, it adds shadow. It breaks up the monotony of like a solid flat.
It allows you to
color.
kind of force the eye of the beholder when they're looking at your model.
Yep.
You can really focus and make sure the head's the brightest and the
Yep.
the shadows are where they need to be, and force the eye to go where it needs to go.
Yep.
Well, I found that when Caleb teaches that technique, because I took that technique with him, I think it was at Adepticon last year, or maybe it was LVO. He kind of over exaggerates it a little bit just kind of to get the effect, but he does it on purpose a little bit exaggerated so you can kind of see how it works. But then you tone it down, and it's a really great technique.
That's the beauty of airbrush is you can always kind of clamp on like layers of it.
Yep.
You know, like you can't just do like a couple steps and done. Like you can always go back and forth and modulate it. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's see. Other than that, I also, as we mentioned earlier, bought the Spear of the Emperor limited edition, which I'm super excited about. I've been kit bashing my Leviathan Dreadnought, which was originally
he's looking cool.
Yeah.
Originally going to be for my Minotaur army, but then after you and I played a game, Austin, and I had to deal with that that bastard.
It's a wonderful unit.
I was like, oh, you know what? I could really use one of these. And I looked at the Chaos one, and that's where I want to talk about this thing called the Soul Burner.
Well, but first off, he pulled up in a drawer and he was like, "Oh my, what are you, 3 Leviathans?
Oh, I didn't know I had those.
Unbelievable."
That is not true. I had one. It has been sitting half assembled with no arms on it for a while. But the Soul Burner Ribodkin is something that the what they call Hellforged
Leviathan
Dreadnought can take.
Right.
And this thing is range 18, heavy 2d3, but
Just mortals.
Every hit is a mortal wound. And so
That's so Zinchian.
it's
I was going to
fantastic.
say,
You know, 'cause your army
pair with smite and just mortal wounds.
He's not
for
dealing enough
days.
mortal wounds as it is,
exactly.
right, you know.
There you go. So that being the case, there is I do have a problem with my army. I'll tell you about in a little bit. But I used the I can't remember the name of the model, the one that everybody was calling the Dinobot model, the
Mauler
Mauler
Fiend?
Fiend?
Mauler Fiend, but not the Mauler Fiend, the shooting one. Which Forge Fiend.
Forge
the
Fiend,
Forge
right,
Fiend. And it has like those plasma guns on the side.
Yep.
And I had 2 extra ones, and I'd given them to Brian to use for a jump pack.
It's always the way it works out, right?
And I was like, oh, if only I had them. And
Yep.
I'm like, wait a minute, I know I have an extra set sit around here, and I found them, and I'm using those for the Soul Burner.
Yeah, it works
Watkins
out. It actually works out really well.
because they don't exist. It's not an armament that exists on Forge World
Right.
site.
And to be honest, you could probably use those as kind of whatever you want to use them as. You
Yeah.
know, like if I ever played you and you're like, "Hey, I'm going to use these as butcher cannons." Sure,
Sure,
They're
whatever.
Zinchian butcher cannons.
So I mean, they
Perfect.
look pretty cool, kind of mounted on the side of the guy. I've
Yeah, I'd
given him a
agree.
banner
Yeah, I like
where I
them.
used the it's from one of the Lords of Change, that like giant book that some
Right.
of them can have on the staff.
I like how stoically you posed him too. It's very Zinchian. Well, no, it's good.
I'm actually
I think.
kind of bummed.
Right.
Actually,
Like the
No.
rubrics.
like the
Yeah,
rubrics.
like the
It's
rubrics
just kind of
reads
slowly,
stiff
methodically.
and-
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
but I think I would have given him a little more of an action pose if I were building him again. Like I think I went for the basic.
Yeah.
That model
Yeah,
is
but those
really
Leviathans,
posable.
it's kind of hard to make them too dynamic.
I've
It's
seen
tough.
but I've seen some.
I've got
amazing
mine
work
kind
on
of
'em.
stepping up on a rock. And
They're pretty.
It's hard.
They're pretty posable, man. You can.
Yeah.
They have a lot of ball
Yeah.
socket joints. You can do.
So
a lot
anyway,
with.
that's him. But I'm gluing a few other Zeech bits to him, and
And you have 2 like big, nice panels to do some beautiful free hands on, right, Carl?
no,
Yeah.
that's where the Forge World
The
transfer
the decals.
transfers are going to go.
That's where you put ashes to ashes on one side and dust to dust on the other.
Perfect.
That's all for Colin to do.
Or just Zinch, change you can believe in.
There you go.
Anyway, so I'm actually really excited with the way he's coming out. I think he'll look pretty good when I'm done. And yeah, I think that's me.
Cool.
That's me. Sign up for .com, blah, 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 terrain. Yep, that's me. So let's move on to Justin.
Speaking of blah, 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 lots of blah, blah, blah. So previously to about an hour and a half or 2 hours ago before recording, my Amazon order arrived of my UHU glue, which was news to me thanks to our community forum.
Yeah.
I made a post saying, hey, I want to do dripping effects on my Nurgle stuff because Nurgle tends to drip. And
They got runny noses.
yeah.
It's a pill for that.
So everybody kept saying, hey, this UHU, you got to try this stuff. And I did. I smuggled some fishing line off my coworker because he's a big fisherman and I'm not. And basically, long story short, you basically cut little fish lines and you glue
Drip
them.
it on there.
And then that's your armature. It's clear and it's just provides a really small armature for this stuff to adhere to.
Right.
And I basically mixed in like olive artist inks with Tamiya red and umbers and all kinds of gross colors just to make it look really nasty. And you just kind of like, I found the best way to apply this stuff is after you mix it, it has a kind of a quick working time. You can't let it set. You have to be really quick with it and take a needle or a safety pin or a paper clip. All the videos I saw, people were using brushes, and I just found that the brush like sucked it all in.
globs it
And
up.
then dry.
And it just turned into a big glob of nonsense.
Yeah.
So use a metal needle, and you can kind of apply it and scrape it down. And as you pull it down and back up and back down and back up, it kind of gives this stringy, nasty, gloopy feel to it.
looks fantastic.
Yeah, it looks great.
Yeah, thank you. So I applied it to all 3 Plague Burst crawlers, so their weapons are all just dripping this stuff that they're going to be shooting at you soon. And then I also applied it to my Creature Caster Plague Angel. So yeah, it worked out really well. I'm super happy
Very
with
cool.
it.
Now the Plague Angel, you use a lighter color with the glue. It looked like.
Yeah, so Plague Angel, I didn't want to make him look like he was drooling blood. So I actually literally, all that was Nurgle's Rot
Oh yeah.
and UHU. That's all it was.
It's amazing. It's funny because when you said UHU, I was thinking the only Yoo-hoo I've ever seen has been the glue sticks, the Uhu glue sticks from when my kids were making craft stuff, and so I was like, how is he going to use glue sticks to do this? So, but yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, it's super awkward to work with, and you end up with like spider webs all over your hobby area. So, don't wear your favorite Speedo when you're painting, and just go easy on it. But it's really, really good stuff. And anybody I think doing like Tyranids or Nurgle or anything that needs drippy,
Drools, anything that
drippy
drools.
effects, it's pretty cool.
Very
So
cool.
that was fun. I've just been really experimenting with all kinds of different effects on the Nurgle Horde, just to add some depth and layers to them.
Were you going to try weathering powders too, or not?
I was, Adon. That's a good segue.
Thank you.
So I did a bunch of weathering powders on my Plague Burst crawlers, and I didn't shake. This is the first time I'd ever shot varnish through an airbrush, and I thought I shook it well enough. I didn't.
Did it cloud?
And no, it didn't cloud, but it came out glossy, which Austin was saying that actually looks really cool.
On Nurgle,
And
yeah.
it doesn't look bad.
I prefer not gloss, though.
Right.
Typically, I don't either, but I think at
think
least
if you
for
let
this
some gloss
model,
on it,
It's
yeah.
fixable if you don't want it, though. I mean, you just
Yeah,
spray
I'm
a
gonna
matte.
go over it again.
Yeah.
yeah.
I like
but
the
you can see
mechanical
where like the
bits.
because I added like textured paint to like the
Yep.
a lot
Yeah.
a lot of it and sponged it on, and then you could see where the rust kind of built up in certain areas. So it worked really good, and I added a bunch of dirt. You can see the grime and stuff inside the dozer blade. But when I first applied it, it was a lot heavier, and then when I shot it, it kind of
Blew it off?
It didn't blow it off. It just I think it was the gloss medium. I think just kind of saturated it and made it kind of disappear. So, but I want to go back on them and hit them again. So a lot of weathering powders. The secret weapon ones are the ones that I've been mostly using, which are pretty cool.
I'm not a huge fan of applying weathering powders.
Like
I
how
think-
they look, or
No,
just,
I think they look fantastic. I'm just not like.
I think they're better for things like historical models that you don't use very much. For people who are like modelers and not
Once you
for a
seal
gaming
it, it's
model.
in there, but it's such a pain to use in my mind.
Yeah,
and I know people who do it all go, it's not that difficult. Okay, it's kind of a pain. Like you said, like you can just blow off all the work that you just did
Right.
putting it on. You can, to me, it's like I can get these effects with washes, I can get these effects with the inks that I want.
Yeah, I could see that.
But I
could
have
see that.
seen I've seen Mr. Justin do amazing base
Yeah.
work with them, and
Yeah.
so I'm not saying that they don't have a place. It's just me personally, it's not worth my effort.
Sure. I know Colin uses them a lot on his bases to give him that extra dusty, kind of dirty feel, more realistic. So I'll experiment with that as well. Been doing a lot of sponge weathering on the Nurgle stuff just to add the battle damage and the nasty effects, even on the infantry. And I think it really kind of takes them to that next level of.
Yeah, your Nurgle stuff looks fantastic, dude.
Yep.
Really excited about it.
Really good.
And it's been fun. Like that's the best thing about it, and the reason my Deepkin are just sitting
the
there
whole
going,
point.
"What about us?" It's like it's just been so much fun, and even an hour here, hour there, you get really good results. And
You get a ton of progress in an hour with a Nurgle army. Yeah.
yep.
Okay,
And
what else?
So that, and then I guess on to purchases. I bought the entire Games Workshop airline,
Whoa.
the model airline,
The
Why?
whole line?
because Caleb kept talking about them like they were the best thing ever.
They are good.
They're very good. Yeah.
Doug likes them too.
They're very
So
good.
I was like, I've had people I respect in the hobby industry tell me they're awesome, so I'll just buy them all.
So you don't respect Doug, is what you're saying?
I love Doug. he gave me like 3 pallets of Minotaur paints, which I
Next
still use to this
purchase.
day. Love you, bro. I look forward to seeing. Is he still coming? For
Yeah, he'll be here.
Oh, that's
Good
cool.
deal. Good deal. So I bought that. I picked up 2 armigers. Armigers? I don't know how you pronounce
Yep.
it.
Armiger.
Armigers.
Ermagers.
For the Nurgle Horde, because if I take the Knight Titan alone, he's just like -1 command point, and
Right.
he's powerful. But I actually still have yet to use him in a game.
I've never used a knight.
Well, I got to get the dual Gatling cannons.
Gotcha.
That's the way to fly.
Okay.
But yeah, I got 2 armigers, so those will be fun. I'm still trying to decide though if I want to do them Nurgle or kind of put them, because I envision them as very like a Slaneshi kind of thing with being fast moving, and then
Yeah.
I see all these like Shapeways bits that are coming out for Slaneshi stuff,
And new Slaneshi stuff
and it
seems to be coming
seems like Games Workshop's doing Slaneshi
Yeah.
things.
out. Oh my god! Talk about that model.
Holy cow.
The harp.
That model touched me in places I didn't know way Slanesh could touch
That
me.
was
I had to double
a
take that,
disturbing looking model. So-
I,
Yeah, when
I
I-
saw a guy YouTube review it, and it was like he had a really good kind of conversation about the whole thing of just you always see Slanesh stuff as being this like how many breasts can you get on a model, and the sensual side of it, right.
And again, during
But-
our chaos review for Slanesh,
It's all about excess,
it's
yeah,
not about
Excess.
that.
and it
right?
looks like pain is going to be embraced in the.
When I
Talk
first
about Hellraiser. Man.
When I first saw that, I was like, "Oh, cool! She's playing a harp. That's kind of cool because they have the Noise Marines, on the 40K side." And then it was like, "Wait a minute!" Got close up.
Wait a minute, she's dry humping a harp made of nerves.
Oh my god!
Yeah, it's pretty.
That was my response to it was, wait, is that coming out of his shoulder?
And whether
And the brand on his back.
whether said victim is being dry humped with his nerves being tingled is voluntary or non-voluntary, they're both pretty damn creepy.
Oh man!
Like really cool. So yeah, we'll see what happens with those. But and then I picked up like a bunch of Age of Sigmar terrain, which is for another podcast, like all of it.
Did you do those box sets
Yeah.
they just came out with?
Yeah,
Really?
I got the Skull Vein Mance and just
I've been
No
looking at
way.
I got all of it.
Oh.
the pipe one. I was looking at that today actually for
Yeah.
There's like the pipe and generator and all that.
I
for
put a lot of it on
40K.
my Christmas wish list that I sent out to the family. So hopefully I
Nice.
get some of it. I don't know.
The
Did
third
you-
army.
But didn't you do Morty
You
too?
finished? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I did do Morty.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
I
so
saw the pictures of him. He looks like freaking amazing.
He's tabletop right now, but but I did manage to assemble and build and paint Morty, and he's been a lot of fun. It's
Mortarian, right?
Mortarian.
It just kills
sorry.
me that you did that so quickly.
I know.
I
I feel like that was overnight.
Have you ever painted Nurgle stuff though? I would say.
did.
It
I
is-
did it during a Duncan class
it-
that you made fun of. But
I'm saying you get great results. You can get tabletop very quickly.
Very quickly.
Like,
I mean, I'm not
quicker
really.
than anything
yeah,
else.
but Justin's
don't-
version of tabletop is something I would enter in Crystal Brush.
I mean, I don't think I'm doing the traditional spray it with that plague green color and wash it. And,
No.
it is all mostly airbrushing and techniques that I've mostly learned through CK, and it definitely ups your game.
It's
and
amazing.
Allows you to get really good results and in not a lot of time. So.
Yeah, if people haven't seen it, go to the Facebook group and look it up. It's amazing.
Yeah, so that's pretty much me. I've just been really I have my whole tray of Nurgle stuff sitting there, and then I'll get home from work and dinner, get the kid down, yada yada, and I'll just go to the painting table for an hour and a half, and I'll just work on something. So nothing's really done, but it's all getting done.
Hey, hour a
And-
night,
That's right.
Yep. So That's me.
Okay. All right. Let's talk games played then. Why don't we start? Actually, hobby goals and promises next
Right,
thing.
right.
So I'm going to continue with terrain. I like the progress I was making on that. I also want to start building some terrain. I'm going to kind of dedicate the next 2 weeks to just upping terrain. I have a lot of the new city terrain that I want to get underway, but I'm going to churn this stuff out relatively quickly.
Cool.
So that's kind of my main objective for the next 2 weeks. And then I'm going to assemble these Zangors and Zangor Shamans because Colin's going to find a spot for me eventually, and I want to have that stuff off to him.
Well, let me know if you need help with your terrain apocalypse.
I do.
Okay, and then I'll call upon you to help me out with my terrain apocalypse. It'll be Lords and Heroes terrain apocalypse, but
Sure.
I'm going to need some help.
Awesome. Sure. Yep. Also, I saw a guy who has been posting. I don't think it was on our group. I think it was on Reddit that I saw it, and he was doing terrain for Zone Mortalis stuff, and he had done this really cool effect. It was Reddit, and I asked him, "Oh, well, what's your recipe for this?" Because it would look really good on Zone Mortalis. And I still have an entire, basically 2 tables of Zone Mortalis stuff, unpainted still.
Right.
That I would really like to get to a backdrop standard that I can play on. So
And that would tie in really well with the Gene Stealer cults coming out soon.
sure. So I'm very much, I'd like to get that done.
Cool.
So anyway, that I don't anticipate getting done in the next 2 weeks, but I am going to get all my building terrain and all that stuff done.
Cool. So all the urban buildings that you have up
totally
to a
done.
certain
Just
standard.
in time for that campaign system. It's awesome.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Yes, that also played into it.
Yes.
Okay, Adon?
I'm going to continue with the bases. I want to get as much of them as I can kind of cranked out all at once, and I have to go buy some more because I don't have enough for 1,000 Marines. And then
I see our future.
and then
10 years from now, Adon talking about the chapter still.
It's our 20-year anniversary of the Independent Characters. How's that chapter coming along, Adon?
Well, I finally got it done.
well, now that they've changed,
Oh, he dies at the table.
now that they've switched them from 32s to 40s, I got to redo all the bases again.
Oh, my God.
Oh, geez. It's time to light the bonfire. I sent a bunch of stuff, Witch Elves, to Painted Figs, and I think the next thing I send off to them is going to be Sisters of Battle stuff, because they did a whole bunch of them for me. I mean, like a lot of them. And with the stuff that's coming out in chapter approved.
Yeah, how excited are you, bud?
And then we know that they're doing Sisters for next year. And I already said, and I'm going to hold to this, I'm only going to buy stuff that doesn't already exist, because they already said there's going to be units that don't already exist.
Yep.
And so that's the only stuff I'm going to buy that's going to be new, I think. And so
I'm buying it all.
So I'm going to take. I have
all of it.
this. I really am happy with the paint scheme that I have going, and because Carl and I played a game, and I like them, and so I'm going to send them off some more, and so that's going to be the next thing I'm looking at.
I've already picked out, I'm going to do purple and white.
Oh yeah,
I'm going to
that's nice.
I'm
Emperor's
all set.
Children Sisters. I like it.
Yep.
Easy there, Tiger.
I like it.
Purple's the color of royalty.
So close to joining us.
Not even close. Maybe a little close.
Maybe a little close. And gold.
Adon? Sorry.
That's it.
didn't
No,
mean
that's
to.
it.
Okay, Austin.
Well, I'll tell you what. I think my main focus is just regaining focus. I've been all over the place, and I need to slow down on purchasing because I have this nice giant army sitting over there. So I think for me, I have this AdMech army that is pretty darn close to being fully complete. And
It looks good too.
What is
So
this
you showed me
complete? What is
pictures.
this complete you speak of?
Did you bring
tabletop?
any of them? Because remember I said
I did not tonight. I forgot.
you
Yeah.
bastard.
Next time.
Okay.
So I pretty much have everything painted to a tabletop standard. However, I still need to decal and do some edge highlighting here and there, and some detail work. So I want to work on that and get that wrapped up by the end of 2018. So I'm kind of starting clean slate for 2019.
About 4 weeks ago.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll see. Other than that, I really want to start prepping for the CK Studios one-on-one class.
I heard the instructor's really good.
I hope so.
I heard he's a new guy though, but we'll see.
Somewhat new to the hobby.
Yeah, somewhat new.
I heard he's bringing 2 guns to and no sleeves.
I'll never say that. I'll never say that
Is cutoff shirts required
ever
or
again.
Oh, please don't say that.
should we all show up in cutoff shirts and just
I opted for that, but
you can airbrush a lot
shot
easier,
down.
much more.
So for those, oh God. So for those, who don't know, CK Studios is doing a class and it's hosted here.
Yeah, thank you very much for that, Carl.
Yeah,
too.
yeah, no.
Super cool, man.
So it's so you can get your,
my toes wet.
kinda, your feet wet there with your first kind of training class. So I've been thinking about how we're going to set it up so Caleb can teach up at the front of the room and that kind of stuff. But I think it'll be fine. I'm a little nervous because it's a lot of things plugged in. I'm hoping
You have a generator, right?
Hoping my power works here just fine, so it should be fine.
I don't think they pull a lot of amps though. Those.
No, I think it'll be
I
fine.
think it should be good.
I mean, I've got plugs built into the floor, so like.
Oh, nice.
That's really nice.
So I
Yeah.
just need power strips.
I'll come help get everything dialed in too.
Yeah, I think I'll need some help setting
Yep,
up.
yep,
So,
for sure.
But yeah, I'm looking forward. I mean, I've even got a television, so
Yeah.
Caleb can,
No one has to run to Target to
Have
buy
his-
one and
Perfect.
return
have
it.
his thing.
Dude, I'm excited. Christoph is
Yeah,
joining.
I haven't seen Christoph in forever, so
Yep.
he's coming.
and he is excited. He bought like everything. I think he dropped like $500 or $600 just
Wow.
between
Wow.
the class and the brush and the compressor and everything.
Well, that
but
class
he's
is super
Nice.
good. So I'm kind of excited about everybody coming here and just hanging out.
The 101, it is a game changer, big time.
And let me tell you, that sold out fast.
yeah.
I mean, we only had.
I don't think we were surprised
I think
by
we only
that.
had 8
but
or 9 spots, but I
Yeah.
mean, real fast. So
Kind of had that feeling the night that it was announced. By morning, it was gone.
yeah,
I think
yeah,
so.
for sure. So
Other than that, I think for me, as far as goals, if I get those AdMech done, is start building those custodes up for 2019. Just start prepping
Very
them,
cool.
magnetizing and things like that.
you don't want to
So,
wind up like Anthony.
Yeah, exactly.
We were over to Anthony's house last night.
oh,
Yeah,
the king,
yeah,
the king
yeah,
of
last
the
night.
king of corks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude. I just wish he had time to paint because his painting skills come along.
It
Well, he's,
looks
he's like
great.
traditional art student.
Yeah.
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 Like he's really talented.
Yeah.
Yeah, his golds are.
Which is never done. I'm like,
It
cool.
looks good.
Yeah,
It
if you
looks
need
really good.
gold tips, talk to that guy.
He went to Dave Paints for a kill team, Harlequin kill team.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So Dave is starting to work on that, I think.
Cool.
Anyway,
Cool.
Justin.
So I am going to continue offering horrible things to Papa Nurgle. My goal is to get Morty finished. That's Mortarion. I always call him Morty. It's a bad habit. So
a great habit.
Finish him.
It's fine. It's just me.
Yeah.
I just don't like calling reboot Bobby.
Bobby.
You know,
Bobby
but
G.
It's me.
Well, after I finish Morty, I need Rick, my Chaos Lord, to join him because a 74-point Chaos Lord who's Warlord who hides out at the back of the field, making my Plague Burst crawlers shoot better and just not give up Warlord is pretty rad. Even though Mortarion should be the Warlord, sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do.
So then
So-
Morty can fight off against Maggie.
We can more. I guess there's no requirement.
You don't
for
have to
him
make
be
you don't have to make
the-
the Primarch your Warlord.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
whatever. You can. There's ways you can find in the lore that he's just kind of up there slaughtering things. And anyhow, so yeah, finish Mortarion's a big thing. And then I also have to start. We're doing a CK Studios Secret Santa thing that a lot of us alumni signed up for. And I got handed the plastic demon prints, just like a generic plastic demon
Nice.
prints. But the client said he'd like it to be Black Legion, but Slaneshi.
Okay.
So, and for me to have interest in this thing, I'm going to have to sculpt some things onto it. So,
Of course.
Cool.
yeah, just
Cool.
so I'll probably give it like a horn coming out one side of the head. Maybe I thought about making his mouth like a big speaker, like a noise monitor. Maybe
Oh, wow.
maybe doing a breast on one side or something creepy.
Cool.
Yep.
All right, let's go through games played. I'm gonna go through pretty quick because
Yep,
we're at 50 minutes already.
Goodness.
Played a 100 power level game against Aaron's Necrons with my Thousand Sons. I've been playing Thousand Sons a lot. I'm gonna kind of go through each of my games and kind of summarize what I've learned over the piece. In this game, we used the narrative. We're playing narrative, and so
Fun. They're fun. Those rules are fun.
I take it back. I wasn't playing Thousand Sons. I lied. I was playing my Tzeentch Demon Army. And in non-competition games, the pink horrors can split to blue horrors, can split to
Brimstones.
the
Brimstones.
brimstone horrors. In competition games, you have to pay for those in advance. It's
a little
kinda-
interesting. Yeah.
I can see a little benefit to that for paying for it in advance, but pink horrors you get at the same price as blue horrors, so it's like why, other than they die, and it's kind of screwy, honestly. I think when the points, unless I'm missing something, if somebody can explain to me what I'm missing, like I don't see why you would pay for that. Colin and I have talked about this quite a bit. However, in narrative games, you're not paying for that in advance. They are splitting like that, and I found them to be quite resilient in that manner.
That 4 up,
But
4
not,
plus.
not
Yeah.
crazy so. I mean, there were things that Aaron should have concentrated on and would have been able to clear them off objectives and that kind of thing. But and they do get weaker as they split. It's not like they're staying pink horrors. So that was
I like
great.
the narrative rules. I think they're a lot
I
of
love
fun to
the
mess
narrative
around with.
rules,
Yeah.
and in fact, we'll talk more about that. Not in this episode, but in an upcoming episode, I want to talk about some open play narrative stuff. Thousand Suns. I played against my buddy Ryan, who had come up for Turkey Day. We played 180.
I was a little jealous,
power
man.
level.
You got a game in on Thanksgiving?
I
That's,
played
that
games.
was
I played a
awesome.
lot of games lately.
next level.
180 power level game because that was what he had brought, and he was just like, I want to play all this.
It's a big game.
Yeah.
He was running his Tyranids. I ran for the first time ever Magnus, who took down.
Maggie came out for a flight.
Took down Forge World Tyranid. I can't remember what the creature's called. It's not the Titan, but the other thing. 21 wounds in one round, hitting on twos, wounding on twos with a reroll of ones, and just
Yep. He's a Primarch.
no save. Oh, and he's wounding on twos because he's strength 16 with his weapon, so he's just carved through that thing like nobody's business.
And the bugs don't really have a whole lot of shooting to bring him down before he gets in.
They have more than.
I mean, they have
you
shooting,
realize.
but-
they're actually, but he didn't realize just how brutal he was.
Well, there's a reason you saw him on every third table at Adepticon, right?
So
I mean,
here's the thing: like, it was fun to run him. You have to make sure he has some type of cover from time to time because otherwise, he's just going to get shot up.
They're big targets.
Yep, they are big targets, but I don't know that he's fun to play against, and so I don't think I will use him particularly often unless somebody kind of is like, "Hey, let's do a big
up for
thing,"
that kind of a game,
or
yeah.
let's do an apocalypse type thing. Just because I think he's pretty powerful.
or you agree
and-
ahead of time. I'm going to bring Mortarion. You bring Magnus.
Yeah, that would be a whole different. That'd be
Right?
a whole. Like that's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah,
unless
yeah.
we talk about it
Right.
in advance, like I don't want to spring that on somebody because he is pretty brutal.
But you also pay a lot of points for models like that. That's the thing. Like they're devastating, but when they go down, that's a chunkier army that's not getting back up.
It is, but also I have ways to heal him and this kind of thing. So it's like he's pretty darn powerful. Not to mention all his psychic powers. This is why you saw him on every
Right.
table. It's
Right.
very, very evident after I played him why he's on every table. Ryan and I also played a kill team game, Thousand Suns versus Harlequins. I thought the Harlequins were going to actually mop the floor with me, but in the end, nope. It became a kind of war of attrition, and I just could out save them, and
Nice.
they ended up collapsing. And then Austin and I played a game the other day, Ultramarines versus Thousand Suns, and it was the first time I ever fought against Reboot Gilliman.
Yeah.
It looked like you took a nice little nasty list there, sir.
It was
yeah.
looking at the pictures.
It was one of the first times I've actually brought him too.
Yeah.
So
Did you bring an extra Vindicator? That army does that.
Did I not tell you that?
You gotta
several
read between the
Vindicators.
lines.
Well, he brought a Vindicator that had a bunch of orcs in the back of it.
Yeah,
Bring a
exactly.
Vindicator, they're almost worthless now, unless you have three of them.
It was an interesting game though.
It was. We drew open war, and one of the things we drew was night fight. So you could only see 12 inches. So you could only
This is
shoot,
Justin's favorite
Shooting
one.
and Psyker.
shoot and psych,
Which
and
kinda-
sight 12 inches.
I love that one.
This is
You
just
roll a d4 or you roll a d6, and on a 4+, you can see 6 more inches, and that was the beginning of each.
We rolled a
round.
4 on 5th round.
Yeah.
Wow.
You may not
Keeper's
have
twitching
liked
over
it. You may not have liked it, Justin.
It was
but
actually really fun,
It
yeah.
was
This
really
game,
fun,
I thought.
and it forced us to think in very different ways. We were deployed long ways on the table, basically.
Oh, geez, hammer and anvil with that.
And so it required a lot of maneuvering. The maneuvering was the most important thing.
That is kinda cool.
in that
Yeah, that's a
game.
cool
And the
aspect of it.
objective, Field of Glory. So yeah, so objectives, one in each
Army
zone and then one in the center.
And
If you capture all 3,
if at
game's
any
done.
point you
Right,
captured
yeah.
all 3, the game was
Right,
over.
right.
And I almost accidentally captured all 3, like not realizing. And Austin
And I accidentally told you about it.
yeah, Austin tells me, "Oh, by the way, if you win this fight, then you're going to win, right? Because then you have 0-3." I'm like, "Oh yeah, look at that."
Of course I do.
And then I tried everything to get those 4 wounds on you, and I just couldn't pull it off.
Yeah, those Terminators couldn't seal the deal. Yeah.
Could not seal the deal. But it was a very fun game. Like
I thought so too. Yeah.
Yeah,
For me,
I-
it was a little eye opening. It made me kind of think outside my typical box of playing 40K. which for me as an Ultramarines player, I just kind of sit and shoot.
Yeah.
And don't think outside of that too often. And that could be a little bit new player syndrome too.
Right.
But having Reboot there and, afterwards having about a week to think about it. And I would have played that a little bit differently here and there. But it also forced us to make, at least for me, unusual movements around the board, which I kind of liked. And that's why I think I appreciated
one of the
this
things that
objective a little bit.
across the entire board.
Yeah.
That's one of the things I like about the open war stuff, though, is that you come up with sometimes with the combinations that you're like, oh, how am I going to do that?
Because I was like you at first. I was like, I don't know if I want to do this because I'm shooting. I'm shooting in psychic out to 24 and all this, and I'm like, oh no, And then, so what I ended up doing was driving 2 rhinos full of guys on both sides of the table, and deep struck stuff in his backfield near his objective, forcing him to
make that decision.
Kind of, do I go deal with that stuff back there?
Is it within 12 inches? You can only see up to 12, or
Yep.
and you could
each
really
turn you
easily,
roll.
you could really easily, like, for lack of a better term, FAQ that to say like 18 to 24 or what, you know what I mean? Like just to change that
it
card.
grew as you roll.
You roll a die and it can go up or down.
Every round.
But
Every
even,
start of the
even
round,
from
you
like
roll
round,
it up.
even like from round 1, you could say let's just do 24 or something, just to make it. But you guys
Why did we need to?
you guys had a good time with it. Yeah.
It worked. There's no need. That's what I'm telling you. So it forced us to make different decisions than we would normally make. And and Austin and I, we talked about it afterwards because we were kind of looking at, and I told you, this is what I was afraid you were going to do. At 12 inches, you have Hellblasters, you have Primaris Marines,
Leviathan.
you have Leviathan, all with Gilliman sitting next to them. I didn't want to get anywhere near that mess.
No way.
Like I didn't want to come in that close. I kept hoping I was going to extend my range and then be able to deal with you.
Yep.
And so I kind of stayed away. And I think Austin would have won the game if he had just been aggressive, abandoned his backfield, and just pushed everything
plowed
forward.
through.
He would just rolled right through me with Gilliman. Because
Yeah.
once Gilliman got in close combat, you saw how he just
that dude's
Yeah.
a
wasted
beast.
everything around
I mean,
him.
he's got a big sword. I should have actually
Yeah.
acknowledged he can do some
And
harm
it's on
up
fire.
close, right? He's not just like a reroll farm going on. Like he can actually
He
do some work
is,
too. He
and-
is. Yeah.
And so the interesting thing is I always learn a lot about other armies' tactics when I'm like, boy, I hope he doesn't do this. Right? Like that's when I'm like, boy, you know what would be a good move with this guy is just keep pushing forward. Like you do with your plague guys in front and you're just pushing forward. I was just like, boy, I hope he doesn't do that with that because then I'm done for.
Yeah.
But I did learn a few things from that.
And that's why I appreciated the game. I walked away saying I learned a few things, and it got me out of that zone that I was in and forced me to learn my army in a different light.
Yeah,
a little
sometimes,
bit.
I mean, it's one of the things people say, losing is actually where you learn the most.
Yeah.
Big time. Yeah, big time.
Yeah. I also learned that I need to read stratagems and use them a little bit more.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's a big deal.
Yeah, huge deal. And I'm not very good at that. I instantly forget my rules the moment I walk into a building. So
It just comes with practice. Like I said,
Yeah.
the more I play my Thousand Suns, the faster I'm getting with it.
And keep your list kind of somewhat similar. Don't
Yes.
be like reinventing your list every time.
Every time.
Because then
Every
it's gonna
time.
confuse
'cause-
learn it.
Yeah.
Learn it. Yep.
Yep.
And to that point, and I'll just diverge and I'll go to your guys' games play because that was your only game.
That was my only one. Yeah. No, I just been buying stuff. So
We in the true
You're in a
spirit of
safe
being
place,
Yes.
bud. You're in a safe
that's why I
place.
lose
Okay.
most of the time.
So a thread came up recently on our group where a gentleman was talking about I'm playing and all I seem to do is either roll all ones or all sixes.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I read that,
And
yep.
my take on that was that is really your perception what's occurring. And
For the
I'll
most
tell
part,
you,
absolutely.
And I'm telling you, Justin, as bad as you say you roll, you're not seeing when you roll really good too, because you roll really good too.
Yeah.
Same here, right? Like playing a Don in the game we played against your sisters.
Yeah, 5 ones.
You saw me roll 5 ones. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, there you go. But there were times where I was rolling 5 up saves, no
Yeah.
problem.
I think we sit there and stew about the times that we had
Well, it
dice
has
rolls
impact.
going more and more,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like negatively. I don't sit there and going, boy, I really
But in that
rolled
thread,
really
one thing
well
I-
that time.
Yeah,
I
that's a
really
good point.
liked was the guy who actually had a real solid statistical analysis thing talking about, a small n number, if you go to N100 and try, how you can actually test out dice. I thought it was very interesting. I just like take one and smash it to teach the other ones to stop doing that.
I think my point here though,
works.
is and we've said this before, but the very best players, the guys that
Yep.
are constantly winding up at the top tables, Justin
Mitigate.
yourself, you mitigate
Right.
your chance of a bad roll by tactically making smarter decisions.
And this is the ultimate edition of like mitigation. I mean, I take my Plague Burst crawlers as an example. On their own, if they're not supported, they're not that good.
No.
But if I have 3 of them next to a Chaos Lord who's allowing them to reroll ones to hit, and then he has a Warlord trait, Arc Contaminator, that allows them to reroll all failed wounds on all.
And then you use a stratagem for.
Then I use a stratagem that allows one of them for 1 command point to move and not suffer any penalty to shooting.
Right.
You know, then now you have a fire base that is like, the dice
That's
are
formidable.
You're looking at their stats and you're going, oh, they only hit on 4s, you know, but it's like now you're hitting on 4s, rerolling 1s, rerolling all failed to wound, and these are those things you have to look at.
You're only hitting on 4, so you're hitting 50% of the.
You're hitting half the time.
But now I'm re-rolling the 1s.
You're
so
re-rolling
even
a
some
third of your
those-
fails.
And you have your basic command point stratagem, like the main cannon on this thing is D6 shots. If you roll 1, command point that thing.
What was the one you taught me? The stratagem for chaos. The
Veterans of Long
Veterans
War.
of Long War.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
Ace.
That's pretty good on 10
It's
Terminators
great on a lot
for
of
1
things.
command point.
It's great on a lot of things. And so my point was that the best players, whether it's through position, whether it's through stratagem use, whether it's through
List building.
combinations
Yeah.
of units, they're mitigating those poor rolls. And that's why you see the same guys
Yep.
winning at Adepticon, winning at Nova, winning at LVO. That's why there's the top 12,
And
15
Yeah,
players.
they don't
As
change
I
their list
recall.
every time. They get to learn their lists.
Yep.
And,
And
they
they play it
mitigate.
over
They
and over and
mitigate
over
the
again.
risk.
Right. So it can come down to like ultimately, I mean, if you're losing every game you play, you might want to look at your list and how it synergizes with itself.
Yes.
You know, like, do you really need that? Because as I recall, he was playing Eldar. It's like,
Yeah.
do you really
Oh,
need
yeah.
that Autarch when you could take a Farseer, or just how's your list going to play on the field?
And Eldar have so many things that can
The
help
kings
them
and queens
synergize.
of
oh
Yeah.
my God, they're shooting
mitigating.
and they're psychic. I mean,
And they have been even before this edition.
Yep.
I mean, they've always been a synergistic army.
And so the thing I took away from that discussion, because I'm glad that discussion came up, because I kind of wrote all this stuff and I was like, and after our game, I was like, I really need to focus on my stratagems. And so I just literally just took my book and just started reading the stratagems and studying. Like I read them in depth. And then I looked at, what are my relics? Because typically I'm taking Ahriman.
That's my
who
thing is relics.
comes with the Black Staff of Ahriman, so he's got a relic. You can't swap that out, right?
Oh,
Yeah,
you
but if I spend no, you cannot swap out a relic that's on a named guy. But I could spend a command point and put a relic on another guy,
Right.
or 3 command points and put 2 relics. So let's take a look at these relics.
So Armon, real quick, he has an artifact that other generic characters can take.
Cannot get the Black Staff of Ahriman.
Then you don't have to pay. That doesn't count as your allocated. That's just that's the gear that he has.
Characters
Specifically
usually have
says-
that, right?
Yeah.
Specifically says I cannot swap this.
right,
out.
but does it count
No,
as
right.
your
You
allocated
can't.
relic?
Right.
I don't
Oh
think
no,
so.
no, I'm not saying it does. That's not what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I'm
so-
not saying it does. I'm saying
Another character gets a cool bonus.
Gets a free
yeah,
relic.
Yeah, which I wasn't paying attention
Right.
to.
Oh, you got to.
I mean, you think about that. You load up a relic. I mean, that lasts the entire game.
Yeah.
Stratagems in the moment. So
Yeah.
Well,
you
some
start,
of my relics, but some of them are great. Like as I was
Right.
looking at Thousand Suns, like one of them is okay, so you can pick up a unit and teleport it anywhere on the board.
That's kind of
That-
big.
Yeah.
Once
huge.
per game.
Yeah.
Okay,
turn 5.
you can teleport
yeah,
them,
right,
and you
right.
can
Line
actually,
breaker.
and
Yeah,
you can actually
objective, yeah.
that was my main
Huge.
thing. Oh,
Yep.
now I'm on this objective.
Yep.
You can actually teleport them out of combat, and then they can reassault because they're not having considered falling
Right.
back when
That's
they do it.
exactly
It
right.
Literally
There you go.
says that, and I was like, oh,
That's
that's,
really
really
good.
good.
That's
and
really,
then there's
really
another relic where I'm like, oh, this is a really good relic.
So what we're saying, listeners, it pays to read your book.
It
pays
really
to
does.
study- but it pays to study the. It's one thing to know these are the units and these are what they do. It's another thing to say there's layers upon this. There's stratagems,
Big time.
There's relics, and now they're going back to formation.
And as somebody who played a lot of
Yeah,
other
as we'll get into.
editions, I think that was one of the things that I also have not been good about in 8th edition.
Yep.
Is figuring out the relic stratagem
Mix.
right? And I've been bad at that. I've been like, a relic. Yeah, I'll just pick this one. And I don't really study it to that level like
and
you're
how
talking
is
about.
this going to play with the rest of the things on
Right,
the team?
exactly.
And
Yeah.
so
Clutch, yeah.
as I've been doing that, I'm getting better. And again, this is the only army I'm playing right now.
Yeah, you're pretty laser line focused on those blue boys.
I'm getting
Great.
very, very okay. I've got these psychic powers that I always take on these guys. These are how they work. And I mean, you saw I have Thousand Suns have a plethora.
yeah,
of
and that
psychic
can be
powers to choose
mentally
from.
draining. Yeah,
It is. But once you, as you said, don't change your list up.
Yep.
I'm sticking with the same kind of things on these guys. So I'm like, I know what this does. I know what this does. I know
Less
which
brain
one's
juice.
my best one to choose from at this
What's
point.
really
that was
cool,
my
you're-
takeaway. don't change my list.
Yeah.
I mean,
Maybe tweak it here and
Slightly.
there,
Tweak it
but
slightly.
really spend, and maybe that'll be my 2019, is
build
just
a core.
really spend some time with one army and start to learn.
but the problem arises too is if you're playing very like friendly game, because that almost draws into kind of more competitive play of like how to chisel away that ice sculpture of your list and make it as deadly and as versatile as it can be. But I think you could find that happy middle ground
absolutely is.
between being that guy and making a list that's looks awesome, that's fluffy, that's
But also
Right.
using the tools that you have at your
Right.
disposal.
and that's fun for you to play with.
Yes.
And your opponent to
Right.
play against.
And that's key. And just jumping back real quick to that game, that game I played against Aaron with the Zeech Demons, having them break up like that, Aaron said, this was a super fun game. Like, that was fun to play against.
Interesting.
Right? It wasn't just like, oh, these were hard. He was like, this was fun. Like, I was killing lots of guys. I was seeing these things happen. And that's important to me. The list I bring is fun to play against too, which is why I'm like so hesitant about bringing
Maggie.
Magnus again, because I'm like, hey, yeah, he can slaughter the hell out of a bunch of stuff, but is that fun?
Right.
That ties in really well with my games.
So anyway,
Well, and your game table though, I really like. I mean, because you have all those cards and stuff,
Yeah.
and you can line them up in your game table, and it keeps it at
It was
your
like a wall
view.
of cards playing him.
No,
Yeah.
but I like that. I mean, I do the same thing. I'll take all of my because the data cards and stuff. I'll line them all up, especially when I'm playing the Eldar, because they have a lot of synergy, right?
Yeah.
So I'll set them up, and then I'll turn over the ones that I can't use anymore, or the ones that I've already used, and
it's the game topper
Yeah.
table that you're talking about, and it has a slot where you can just set cards in. And
It's
just
really
set
nice.
it there.
Cool.
It's very
Yeah.
handy. Justin, let's talk about your games, please.
So speaking of Primarchs, I've gotten a couple games in with Mortarion. I've played 2 competitive games, both 2K ITC games against Robert to kind of go from narrative to
Yeah.
more competitive. And again, we always have that
That's what you're here
conversation. That's what we're doing, right? And he's really trying to make his Primaris work,
Right.
his Raven Guard Primaris. And he brought the heat, man. And as did I. So I brought.
You say he's trying to make him work. Is he struggling with that?
He kind of has been, yeah.
Okay.
Especially mostly against my Dark Eldar,
Okay.
or Drukari, which have been a little,
does he
a little disintegratory.
Yeah.
So Raven Guards, he's using relics. I mean, Reavers pretty in his list and stuff too.
He uses scouts.
Yeah. Instead of the
which
Reavers.
are awesome. They're plinking off mortal
They're
wounds
really
off
good.
my
Yeah,
demon
they are.
princes.
With
and
Sniper?
stuff.
Raven Guards,
With the
Sniper ones?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hands
They're,
down.
they're picking characters and they're just
Yeah.
shooting.
Yeah.
A foundation. If I was going to do Marines, like hands down, would be like 3 units of 5 as a battalion, 3 units of 5 sniper scouts,
Yep.
and like a lieutenant and a captain,
With
like
cloaks.
boom, battalion.
With cloaks and terrain.
with
Yep.
cloaks and terrain and like
Exactly
what
what
he
I
did.
used. Yeah.
15 shots at any character, you're going to cause 3, 4, 5 mortal
Yeah.
wounds. Like
Yeah.
boom,
Yep.
suck it, Trebek. So he took that. He took a bunch of Hellblasters. He took the
Yeah.
big tank. He took aggressors. Of course, 2 smash captains.
Really?
What are smash
okay.
captains?
Those are your captains with jump,
Jump
packs
packs
and
and
thunderhammers.
shields.
Thunderhammers, yeah.
Do they?
And they're just he doesn't take Blood Angels smash captains, but
Did he have the shield?
Yeah,
Storm Shield
he-
too?
oh yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. So they get in and it's like straight 4 damage, and then like whether they die or just finish fighting, they can attack again. So I think in one game, I think it was the first game, he actually took out 2 demon princes
Wow.
with 1 smash captain.
Holy
That's
smokes!
awesome.
Just brained one, and I caused a bunch of wounds
I'm like
on him.
taking notes over here.
love it.
I killed him, and then he's like, "Hey, stratagems." Boom! Knocked
again.
the jaw off my other demon prince. I'm like, okay.
He like pointed up to the stands.
Just home
old Babe
run,
Ruth.
But the thing is, with both games that we found,
That's fascinating.
I had Mortarion, in the middle, and of course and kind of back to hobby progress. I kind of painted a whole demon battalion. So I have,
that what
I
you
have,
did?
yeah, I have. So now I have my, which I think I'm going to take every time I use my Death Guard. So it's basically 30 Plague Bearers, 2 units of 3 Nurglings.
So good though.
And the Nurglings push forward, and they deploy ahead, and they push you back, and they're like 54 points for a troop unit.
Yeah.
And then 30 Nurglings.
Can the Nurglings hold objectives?
Sure can.
They have objective security.
They don't have OBSEC,
Right.
but they can capture.
yeah, they
But they're really there just to mess with you, push you back.
Yep.
I've
You gotta
got,
deal with them.
I've got little Poxwalker units and cultists, and
Yeah.
my Nurgle army, when it's on the board, is just like everywhere. It's just an infected board
Scarabs and the
of
Necrons do the same thing. They're just such a pain.
yeah. And I've been rocking. I took Morty. I think both lists. I took Mortarion with 2 Demon Princes,
Wow.
and
Wow.
Blightlord Terminators, 10 of them dropping down in the backfield, 3 Plague Burst Crawlers. So it's got like this huge push in the middle.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then it's got backfield control, and it's got 10 Blightlords that drop down that you have to deal with. It's just a horrendous thing to fight against. But it's not like
That's pretty
super-
hammer and anvil, though.
It's not. Yeah, it's not
Yeah,
super
it really is.
killy until stuff gets in.
It's
It's
just
more
super
just
durable.
absorbing
Yeah.
your damage. You know.
So how's
frustrating.
Mortarion performing?
So he died both games,
Uh-huh.
but he soaked up so much firepower.
I was going to
that-
say,
that by the
how many
time-
rounds?
I
worth
think he
was it?
died turn 2 in one game, but he took down I think 6 or 7 Hellblasters because they were overcharging to bring
Okay.
bring it down, and they're just killing themselves even with rerolls. You know.
So technically, he didn't kill him, but they
Yeah,
killed
well, I would
themselves,
cast
right?
Miasma on Mortarion,
yeah.
so he's -1 to hit.
Okay.
So I'm like,
Nice.
are you sure you want
I
to
have that one too,
You
yeah.
sure you want to overcharge those? Yeah. But he just soaked up so much firepower that by the time that happened, like my other demon princes are getting in, and it's just a plague fest all over your face.
Yeah, by
Yeah.
that point, they've spent so much time trying to bring him down.
exactly.
Everything else they haven't
Right.
been focused on.
And
The game
meanwhile,
could have got
he's-
away by
he's
that point.
smiting things, and he's dealing mortal wounds even when he's in combat. And I mean, they're powerful, but they're fun. They're fun to play with competitively. I think I agree with you. Competitively, if you kill it and he doesn't get in, it's like, well, there went 500 points.
Yep.
Cool.
That's true.
I mean, like I said, you got to be careful with them because they can be seen and shot at.
Right.
But
And I thought about it too, because both times I deployed them, I got those really cool big terrain buildings, which I also forgot to talk about. But I got both of those buildings kind of like spray rattle can,
Yeah.
a couple
Yeah.
gray
Right. The ones that your
shades.
buddy
and
gave
everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
And this thing is massive, and it kind of I push it off to a flank, and I'm like, damn, should Mortarion just go over there and
Just hide in it?
slowly work his way over?
Yeah.
But I'm like, nah, it's not me. Put him in the middle and just deal with it. but those were fun. And then after that, we finished a little early, and we're like, let's just set up a power level game. So we played a 50 power level. I think it was 50. Yeah, 50 against his Raven Guard.
Yeah.
A lot of fun. Great, fun game, but definitely learn from throwing a list together real quick back to that list design. Like when you just throw a list together, it doesn't really tend to work out
Well,
too
you also
well.
got
So
you did Highlander too.
we did Highlander.
Yeah.
Yep.
cool.
Yep. 1 Plague Burst Crawler is not as good as 3.
Not as good as 3.
But you didn't get another game.
The power of 3.
I don't know, did I?
Yeah,
No, you didn't.
You didn't.
Oh, I didn't. Yeah, that's right. So I was supposed to play Brian, but he flaked on me again. So
He's got 2 kids. Hard to get away from.
those Splinter Mind guys, I'm telling
Yeah.
you. No, and it's a drive for him. And
His mind
Yeah,
splintered.
It is.
His mind is a little splintered. Yeah. Yeah. But we'll.
And Adon.
Yes. So we're running the Kill Team campaign kit at Endgame. I'm trying not to cry.
Adon.
Okay, and then we're almost done.
If we didn't mention or you haven't seen on the group, In Game, which is Adon's local store in Oakland, is closing down. Unfortunately, the rent doubled, and the guys just really there decided, this is the time to kind of throw in the towel. They've been tired as well. It's exhausting running a business like that. It's a real loss to the Bay Area. I mean, that is such a great game store. It's always had this mezzanine above that you play in. You can look down on the rest of the shop. The people that are running it have been great. And Adon, you've done a tremendous amount of work building up that community and running events there. So, do you need a tissue? You got a tissue?
I might need a moment. Yeah.
I mean, that's a huge
It
bummer.
is-
I
it
mean,
is a
the
huge
amount
blow.
of hours
It's a huge
spent
blow.
at one place.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean they're gonna finish off with organized events at the end of December, and as a result, we're changing our last day, which was supposed to be Kill Team on the 15th of December. That's going to end up being the final ever Apocalypse game at Endgame.
Right.
We've had some just amazing Apocalypse
sad.
games
That's really
at that
sad.
place, and so we're just going to do a huge Apocalypse game. I've got some ideas of how I want to run it.
Well, you know what? You can come here and run Apocalypse games for all our
it's
friends.
but the thing it's a totally different group of people
Yeah.
too,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
I mean,
for
one of the
sure.
things about Endgame in Oakland is it's the only one that's in that kind of downtown Oakland, Berkeley,
Yep.
Emeryville area. It's like 2 blocks off of a BART station, which is our local rapid transit system, and there's other places. The Bay Area has an embarrassment of wealth with regard to game stores and great people running the game stores. I mean, Heretic and Game Castle and Black Diamond and Gamescape North and Gamescape San Francisco and all these different places, which are really, really great places to play. I mean, Game Castle Mountain View.
Yep.
It's a fantastic place to play. It's wide open. It's huge. Endgame, they were kind of the flag bearer. Them and Gamescape North way back when were 2 of the really top places, and It was a real bastion of the community, both the RPG community and
Agreed.
and the miniatures
Agreed.
community. And so, it is a really hard thing. We're all trying to figure out, how we, as a community, we probably won't have a place that, as that same community, will be able to come together unless, unless somebody wins the lottery and we like rent a loft in Oakland or something and do it there.
Right.
But it's hard. Anyway, we're running a kill team thing there. A lot of folks already have filled out all 12 stamps on the cards. The only reason I actually got that kit is I got to use this cool stamp on the cards. But no, it's really cool to see people doing that stuff. I have 4 of the Table War kill team mats, and so we have those out there. Great looking tables, great stuff. There's a guy who works at the same college that I do. I ran into him this is over a year ago. Now he's like, "Hey, you're the guy on the podcast," and so it's, "Oh, you play 40K?" So he had never played Kill Team before, so he came over to the office and we went to our conference room and played 40K in 40 minutes. During lunch, we played Kill Team. He hadn't played Kill Team before, so it was fun to kind of go through that and kind of show him the ropes on that.
Get some strange looks
I
from.
was going to say, what did people think?
Well, I'm the executive director of my department, so
Who cares what
who
they
cares?
think?
Yeah,
Right.
I don't really
Yeah.
care what they think. So we did have one of the supervisors came by and went, "What are you doing, boss?" It's like, "I'm having lunch. What are you doing?" Nothing, sir." He just kept going.
Shouldn't you be working?
Yeah,
Right? How come you're not on the street?
Make me these copies real quick. Yeah.
So he plays guard.
Yeah, don't look at it. It's my roster.
exactly.
He was playing Astra Militarum, and I was playing Space Marines, and it was a good time. And I think he really enjoyed it. And we're going to try and do it again. And it was pretty cool. Yeah, it
A
was
game that
kinda
you can fit in your lunch hour. That's awesome.
Well, Kill Team.
Yeah.
You can do it.
Seriously.
Right?
I think
And
it's
that-
really cool. Yeah.
Way back in the day, that's what they used, like Combat Patrol and Kill Team. They called it 40K in 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Lunch hammer.
Lunch
Yeah,
hammer.
lunch hammer.
Exactly.
All
Yeah,
right.
yeah. And then Carl and I played a game, his Thousand Sons versus my Sisters of Battle.
That was great.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Sisters of Battle.
Had some good stuff.
I got him out and kind of dusted him off because, as we all know, there's going to be a beta codex in the chapter approved.
Yep.
So I want to get him back out and kind of get my feet back under me because I think, for the most part, it's going to be the index list with just some doodads. They've kind of, they previewed a bunch of the stratagems and stuff, and so like I tried that Holy Trinity stratagem.
Yep.
And it's fun.
I cannot wait to see those new models.
I'm really glad
my
to.
God.
Goodness gracious.
Agreed.
I'm telling you.
Yep.
Really happy
Flames
about-
and angels and just
It's going to be great.
flames.
Amazing.
Yeah, yeah. It was
Awesome.
a fun game.
Baby cherubs everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
All kinds of stuff. It's going to be awesome.
Emperor's children, cherubs.
I love that. I think it's creepy as heck.
Oh, super. Yeah.
Yeah. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
I'm absolutely
Just don't
in
come
love.
out too quickly, though. Right?
They're
Yeah.
Gonna
Like I just
dump
told
it.
myself I'm not purchasing much more, but
my guess is my guess. I'm going to say May.
I
May
think-
is my guess.
I'm thinking. I was thinking to say June, July.
I was thinking October.
No way. No way. It's gonna
It's
be
going
that
to be
late.
sooner than that.
I think it's
I
gonna be
think
sooner
it's
than
gonna
that.
be sooner than that.
Wishful
Justin,
thinking.
any guess?
It's not Chaos or Eldar. I don't care.
All right. Well, yeah.
It's just more toughness 3 lady folk for me to kill.
All right.
No, I would say I think it's gonna be soonish. Yeah, very soon. Probably. Yeah, I'd go with May.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
that
right.
sounds about right.
All right.
We know nothing, folks. Just
Well,
so
this
you
has
know.
been a
July.
lengthy
June, July.
hour and 20-minute hobby progress.
Jeez.
So, Jason Mullins, the show's about to start for you as we move into the next segment. But we will be right back. We're going to start. We've got several questions here for the Warrior Lodge, and we will go into all those in just a couple minutes. Be right back.
Great Scott, 00. Foam Finger's destroying all the models with his rough touch.
Oh, Mullins Penny. Don't you worry. John is on the case.
How is that, John?
I'm going to warn the world that they should be using the soft blue foam with the hard cases. Foam Finger will never ruin another model again.
You mean Operation KR? Is the world ready for that, John?
The world is ready. I'll make sure of it. The only way is to spoil Foam Finger's plans.
Hard cases with the soft foam is the only answer. You've convinced me, John. Let's move forward with Operation KR.
The name's Jont. Jimmy Jont.
Oh, John. See? Give 00 John the figures for this mission.
Hard on the outside, soft in the middle. KR Cases is where John always gets his foam. KR hard cases for soft blue foam.
Carl are clear, dude.
Right now they are after the rain.
I wish I had recorded that whole conversation.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
About your UFO site.
Yeah.
Oh,
that was
geez.
good.
But what we're here to
believe it.
talk about is multiple topics. So welcome to the Warrior Lodge. We've got several topics I want to talk about. For those who aren't aware, the Warrior Lodge is kind of a moderated discussion. It's not even kind of. It is a moderated discussion about various topics that are going on in the community or ideas or things that we have. And we're going to start off with a super easy one this time. Thank you all for joining. I appreciate it. So the first one we're going to talk about is, well, Christmas or Hanukkah. Hanukkah's
Tonight's the first night of Hanukkah.
Tonight's the first night of Hanukkah that we're recording.
Festival of Lights.
Christmas is they're right around the corner. Festivus is right around the corner. What Games Workshop or third party 40K
Why are you looking at me?
gaming materials are you hoping to pull in this year? I mean, every year we say, yeah, I like 40K stuff, and then our family members will buy us stuff, and we're like,
Not really what I wanted.
don't really need a dreadnought with my Eldar army. Thank you. But
Well, the
I
cool
think
thing
I
is-
saw a meme or something about
Yeah.
that today. But Adon, let's start with you. What is it you're hoping to pull down this holiday season?
So the cool thing is my family is into people sharing their wish lists, and both Amazon and Games Workshop allow you to publicly share your wish list.
I think that's the way to go.
yeah,
like we were talking about that earlier.
Because that way you don't get a dreadnought for your Eldar army.
I'm going to go set mine up.
Yeah. So one of the things I'm actually hoping I get is the hobby kit. So I don't know if people noticed when they were selling the paint sets about a month and a half ago, they came in these little cool plastic holders.
Like spiderweb things.
Yeah. And I saw that. I was like, I bet you they sell that on its own at some point. And now they're selling it on its own. And what's really cool about it, which I didn't realize when the paint came in it, is that the little plastic things that hold the paint, you can stand them up like an easel.
Yeah.
So you can see the caps.
Oh, that's cool.
It's really cool. And the thing that makes it a super cool value is that they're packed in one of their army cases. Mm-hmm. And if you look at the price of the army case, obviously the army case includes the price of the foam, but everybody makes foam, right? So that is of great value just by itself to get that army case. So I'm hoping to get that. There's a bunch of terrain deal boxes like my buddy here, Justin, bought all of them himself. I'm hoping someone else buys them for me. So I've got both the 40K and Age of Sigmar ones on my wish list. Those are the things I'm looking for the most.
You didn't buy all the terrain boxes, did
I
you?
bought too much. I need help. Send help.
Good thing you're doing all this extra work for CK Studios.
I've had a lot of side jobs coming in and extra cash, just
Yeah.
burning,
Just burning a hole in your pocket.
Yeah. And for me, like, I know it's a 40K podcast, but like terrain is that third army.
Yep.
And I have been trying to get really back into AOS, and I figure what better way than literally inserting myself into the mortal realms with all kinds
Austin,
of terrain.
let's switch over to you before Justin gets going.
Yeah, that's cool. Well,
Talking about UFOs and AOS.
yeah, different podcast, but
We could do a UFO podcast.
Ooh.
yeah.
Too many podcasts.
You'd never show up. You'd be like, I got abducted again.
or I would be there just transdimensionally.
So it's hard to say, hey, babe, here's my Christmas list after you get an entire army.
Yeah.
That's a tough sell.
Yeah.
After you get CK Studios a
Yeah.
week after that,
Yep.
and she's hanging out with the kiddo, and I'm out airbrushing and stuff. But
So just the
today-
entire model air line from Games Workshop.
yeah,
That's
hey,
all.
yeah, something like that. But even today, she looked at me and she said, "Hey, just send me a list of things that you're interested in for
Really?
Christmas."
My wife would have said,
"Man,
that's your Christmas gift." That's what my wife would have said.
Yeah, that's what I was expecting it
Yeah.
on. But that's not the case. So I was prepared though. So, anyways, terrain. I
there you go.
like those
It's a theme.
city terrain from Kill Team. I have not bought them yet. I know it was several months ago.
They're cool.
I want them, and I think they're going to probably be well used in the narrative campaign coming up. I think.
Do they have
So-
a big set of those available with the
You
new?
don't-
Because I haven't bought any of those
No.
either. That's thank you.
They
for
look
reminding
so
me.
good.
You can buy them
Yeah.
separately.
Kits right
yeah,
now.
you can buy
But
them
no
separately.
big.
No,
big
there's
set.
not like a big like.
Okay.
I just
Well,
added
they
all
have the
4
big-
boxes or
they
whatever.
have the
to
one
my
with
wish
all
list,
the
yeah.
Right.
the one with all the crates and all that. They do have some that are kind of combinations of the things.
Yeah, but you can't before they had like the Imperial sector.
Right.
They don't have a version of that with the new terrain yet.
Gotcha.
But you never know.
The other thing, I need a KR backpack.
Yeah.
Yes, you do.
Going to Adepticon, participating in
Yes,
my
you
next
do.
event. I think that is probably my number one, I think, for a gift. Plus, I owe you a bunch of foam.
No, you
so
don't.
I need to.
No, you're going to give me back my phone.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean. Like, I've got a lot of your foam
Yeah.
sitting in my closet right now. So that'll help.
Cool.
And then I think like the wish list is finally to kind of, I think, balance out that Custodes army is one of their grab tanks from Forge World. I think would be pretty fun to
Did you
kind
say
of build and paint up.
You had picked up the Forge World Dread for
I
that?
did.
Okay.
Yeah.
That thing is, oh
The
my lord.
Telemon, yeah.
And then you get a banner, a relic banner next to that thing with a -1 to hit, and you just ignore it. Like you won't kill it.
Exactly. And I think the grab tank one, I think it just looks cool and
So good.
Just kind of round out the army
special character,
altogether.
too. You got to get the special character.
Yeah. Val. I can't remember his name now.
Yeah. Robert's
Yeah, let me know.
Kill me. I can't remember his name either.
Okay.
But he's cool. Yeah.
That's where I'm at. But we'll see what happens after I've got a huge Ultramarines army. We'll see how Santa treats me, I guess. So
Yeah. You did good.
Justin?
Pre-game, you did good.
yeah.
I'm going to say a new compressor because I'm still rocking my my real basic Badger that I bought like a decade ago. I'm starting to get a little water through the hose on it,
Oh, yeah?
even being dripped out and everything. So new compressor, but I'm sure I don't know. Maybe CK will take care of me on that end. Maybe, who knows? And Blackstone Fortress, I got to buy that thing. So I'll probably
Put it on the wish list.
Yeah, put that on the wish
What
list.
about it interests you? The game itself or no? The models?
The number one thing that interests me is the Eldari Ranger.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be like my first actually enter into a competition.
Ooh, neat.
model.
Okay.
That's
cool.
Just give it up my
Give it
all.
your all. Okay.
It's going to be my Elect Knight Spear.
Nice. And of course, I mean, I'm a Chaos player, so I get a bunch of cultists.
Yep.
and
Yeah.
sure, Beastmen and a Chaos Lord and
Some Marines.
somehow Primaris scaled Chaos Marines, which are I'm not arguing.
They're
I think
swole
it's
with
great.
chaos.
They're
They're
swole.
swole.
with chaos.
Yep.
How dare you give me better looking models?
I love it. I can't wait till the whole kit comes out.
Yeah.
Because it's
We'll get
coming.
into.
Yeah, you know
Oh, it's
coming.
got to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
And my backlog at the moment is between AOS and 40K and Blood Bowl, and it's a little much. So I don't really need too many models. So really, what has me super kind of excited lately is just game mats,
Yeah.
especially every time I come
Yeah.
over to your house.
Yeah.
There's a new beautiful table war mat that I'm like, damn it, that matches my army perfectly, and I need that, such as the Winter Cobblestone.
Oh, that's such a
Yeah,
good one.
really good one.
Like,
Yeah.
I need
Winter
that one.
Cobbletown.
Cobbletown.
That's what it's called.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So I
I
need
think
that
that's,
one.
I think that's their best mat.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Like it's just so good.
And
And
I mean-
even the regular Cobbletown one is good, but the winter one, I just
Oh,
love
it's
the colors.
it matches my basing style. But
So
we were
good, yeah.
tripping out on that. Like, yeah, it's got the little greens, the dead grass, the grays. So it's perfect.
Yeah.
I got to get a winter mat too because right now I still have actual winter boards, which
Yep.
I for some reason built up piles of snow and terrain doesn't sit
quite
well
right,
on
right,
them,
yeah.
and dice roll like crap, and it looks awesome, but it's not playable. And so yeah, that's pretty much me. Like I just have so many models to work on. It's a little pathetic at the moment. And I'm preparing for the inevitable Slanesh release, whether it's AOS or 40K.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
very cool.
I'm somebody that I'm hard to shop for in the sense that if I want something, I
Yeah,
I
right,
just go
right,
get it.
right.
And so,
Or you get Amazon gift cards or whatever for the
Right.
holidays or whatever.
Yeah,
that-
this time comes around, and if people say, "Oh, what do you want?" I'm like, I mean, even from Forge World, I'm like,
yeah. Yep.
I'm good. I mean, I think maybe a couple Adeptus Titanicus models, but then
Have you
really,
played that game yet?
Nope.
Yeah.
Which is why I've kind of held
Right.
off on buying
Right.
them.
Yeah, me
right?
too.
So I mean, as a gift, yeah, that would be cool. But beyond that, it's all terrain. Like just for me,
The new Titan.
it's no. I don't want the new Titan. I haven't even
Oh,
played
God,
with my
that looks
current
so
one.
good though.
We will soon though. But
And I think terrain's a good Christmas gift
Terrain
for the
is
sense
amazing.
that I don't jump to just buy terrain instantly.
Yeah.
I'm usually
Right.
the model, so I'm always thinking like, okay, well, like to your point, Carl,
yeah.
I buy what I want usually
Yeah.
in the moment, and it's not terrain. So
We're
just have
fortunate
that.
in the sense that
Yeah.
like we
Yeah.
can do that.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
And I recognize not everybody can, but so for me, it's something like the custom terrain you made when I gave you some of the fantasy terrain I had, and you're like, here, take these. I made too many of these desert things. I was like, God, these are awesome, right? Like, I
You
don't
hide a
need,
land raider behind that.
don't need more city terrain. Like, I've got plenty of city terrain.
You say that now.
Yeah, but there is a couple like that pack with I was talking about the fuel lines and
Right.
like the power station.
Right.
And that could be kind of cool, So I'll put a couple things.
And
on
I think
my list.
really
like
what
your list
really
idea.
ultimately sparked this big interest of Carl's, those Daler Rowney inks, man.
Yeah.
Once you start painting
Shooting
terrain
those,
with those,
yeah.
dude, it's like,
You're just like, yep.
Game changer.
And I knocked all these out in 2
yeah,
hours.
and it looks
Yeah.
so good.
It's so easy. So super excited about that. Okay, so that's the easy one.
Happy
Question
Hanukkah.
2. Gene Stealer Cult has been confirmed for December. So
Yep.
we know that's coming. All the codexes effectively are done. We know about Sisters of Battle.
being
blah, blah, blah.
delayed, yeah.
All the codex, basically all the codexes are done. They've achieved what they set out to do. They promised.
What they
to
told
do.
us they were going to do.
Yeah.
Real quick too on those cult models, like the motorcycles
Oh.
and the three-armed gunslinger,
man.
the three-armed gunslinger, the
four-wheeler.
and
Oh,
the,
did you read the-
four-wheeler.
Did you read the
So
story on the three-armed gunslinger?
Yeah, I just
Yeah.
read that before recording.
Yeah.
It's so rad.
So
Yep.
cool. They have a model with a guy. He's like scoping out like a table. It's like a scanner table. Like they're planning their
right,
assault.
right,
Yeah.
It's Warhammer World.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
And
That's
somebody
really cool,
figured that
yeah.
out before
Before they said it.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing is that it also mimics an old model from like 30 years ago or 25 years ago. Somebody found the old version of it.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was a concept model that they never actually put in production, and so this mimics that, and it's Warhammer World, and it's awesome.
That army's gonna be
So back
rad.
to our point.
Yep.
So
Sorry.
we've got all the codexes complete. We know about Sisters, etc. With the Vigilist stuff, we're now starting to see campaign stuff that they are setting towards that we're hoping will kind of be their focus going forward. I mean, I'd like to see more models and more units and that kind of thing, and more codexes, whatever. But
And preliminary rage at formations coming back.
Yes.
I've seen a lot of people like
I think they're concerned, and rightfully so.
Yeah.
I mean, those things did cause some problems in 7th edition, but I think the Games Workshop has also learned a lot of lessons since then,
Yep.
too. So
Yep.
I'm actually kind of excited about how you pay command points to open up new stratagems that you can use that only you get to use through the. I mean,
We're
and
seeing
you have to
pre-
pay. You have to pay to use those stratagems too. Like I think
Right.
that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
army
And-
list stratagems.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
And they're we know they're willing to wield the fact bat if they have to,
Yeah.
right? If something
Yeah.
goes sideways with them, right?
right.
So I guess my point here is, where do you think we're going in terms of campaign stuff? What are you looking forward to? What are you excited about? Let's start with Austin this time.
Just being the newbie. I think for me, just playing initially with 8th edition, this is my first campaign
Yeah.
to just see how it rolls out, play along with it. And it sounds exciting for me. I mean, you got a 200-page book coming out, part 1, tons of material, a lot of good opportunities, different factions. Maybe not all of them are included, but and then part 2. So I don't know.
And then the city.
Yes.
That looks really cool.
I'm very
Urban
interested
destruction.
to see how
Yeah.
that plays out. So, Don,
I love it.
You're kind of the one.
I was going to say this is right
This
up
is
your
my
alley,
jam,
bud.
man. This is the kind of thing we're gonna. I know we're at Endgame. We're gonna.
Oh, too soon, Adon.
Pour your drink out.
Or maybe not. No. Oh God.
At Carl's Warhammer World.
Yeah,
we're gonna
at the
have some-
Astronomicon. I love campaign stuff. I mean, we were just Mike and I were going back through all the campaigns that we ran.
What are you drinking right now? Austin and
Not
Justin.
Coors Light.
He's drinking a little something, something.
A little something,
Little
something.
something,
Little Lagunitas, a little 7.5%er.
Saying can't drink it in game.
Yeah, true.
Or smoke cigars.
Yeah.
You can't smoke cigars in here either.
Outside, though. Outside,
Okay, anyway, Adon.
Slaughterhut, you can.
Well, Slaughterhut's cold right now.
Slaughterhouse cold right now.
Can we get a space
reason
heater
we're not
there?
I have a space heater. But usually the games are so heated, it doesn't matter.
So,
All right.
I love campaigns.
Yep.
I
me too.
really like running them. I really like the things that people bring to bear in the campaigns. I really like the fact that they're trying different systems out there. I like the fact that not every campaign is going to have every faction, because I can tell you from running events, it's really hard to shoehorn some of the things in sometimes.
It feels shoehorned.
It does. And so, I mean, because we should do, we'll do this and do that, and then Tyranny did anything. I mean, you had, unless it's themed for that, it makes it difficult. But I'm really cool with them doing it this way. I'm hoping that, like, it looks like, but they're going to say, hey, here's Vigilus, and here's a couple character models that go along with that. And then here comes another one, and there's a couple character models. And so, and
like there's so much they can do with it.
There's so much you can do with it, and you can add on to the stuff that's already there. You could do stuff in White Dwarf. You can do stuff in PDF things that you sell. You can do it. I mean, there's so much to do with it, and it's really exciting, and I love it.
Yeah.
I think he's excited. He's
can't
borderline.
I think so. Yeah.
Borderline me on Eldar excited.
I'm very curious about the
sad.
city system that they're talking about. And I'm curious if we can have that as a constant thing here, right? Like where it's like, hey, let's play a game, pick your spot on this thing, or however it works. Like I don't know how it works yet. But I'd like a system, or I'd like a method where you and I played a game
and it affects the system
towards something.
Yeah,
like
right.
And I've got this great setup here. Let's make something.
It's almost like we've done that before.
Yeah,
but having it laid out better for you.
But not only that, just like something that where it's even just floating in the background. That,
so you're saying like, okay, so every time you play Austin, in the background is this campaign that you guys can just feed off of.
You know, I play. You know, we just go, oh well, this takes place here, and it has this effect, and then you come over and play, and we're like, oh, well, let's do this. You know, I'd like something where
it helps add to the narrative aspect of the game.
Right.
And sometimes, you know, they'll say, hey, in this battlefield, the buildings might blow up on a 6 or something. I mean, I don't know what they're going to do, but I'm so excited.
No clue.
This is so cool.
I hope they play with
It's kind of a cool twist, I think, though. Having terrain actually.
It's really neat.
There's
inflicting wounds.
The old Cities of Death stuff.
I'm thinking of video games.
I'm sure they'll play with
do
game
stuff like
mechanics, too.
Battlefield and things like that.
I'm sure they will.
Like you're in a Death World forest, and you know, like everything's -2 to hit for shooting,
or poison
whatever.
around you.
You know, like they're gonna mess with
this
stuff.
would be the perfect end game campaign.
Yep.
Oh, jeez.
So sorry. All right. Well, let's move on for the next question then, because I don't want Don to get too depressed. So we'll move forward.
Well, I am excited about it too. Like a Don, I hope they throw units with all these campaign releases. Throw in sporadic releases. That's what I'm most excited about. Of just, hey, this model hasn't been updated in like 15 years. So this is the perfect opportunity.
There's going to be surprises.
Doing those detachments and data sheets and stuff like that is a way to do that, right? I mean, that's how the Imperial Fist. That's how they got some stuff in there. In there,
point.
right? So
this goes back to what we were talking about earlier too, with like list design of the strategizing. But before the game even begins, this kind of takes it to that nth level. You know, of I actually can form my whole army around burning a couple stratagems. So super excited. Like if I get that stuff for my Dark Eldar and my Chaos, I am just a happy dude.
Okay. So kind of on the heels of that, after the Vigilus Weekender that they had out in the UK, we got a lot of announcements. Not just this campaign stuff, which we're all excited about. There were a lot of announcements. What, besides the campaign piece, what has you the most excited? Because that was a plethora of stuff, and I think it really gave a good indication as to where we're going to see kind of the first quarter of 2019 go. Let's start with you, Justin.
So, although not strictly Vigilus related, the Slaanesh model and the steeds and everything just has me beyond excited.
Yeah,
like
what it means, right? Like what it indicates.
What it indicates. For me, it was like I think a lot of people were thinking that Games Workshop was going to like kind of pump the brakes on the hedonism and
there was a lot of
make it more
discussion about
PG-13.
They did not.
Bikinis for all, you know, and it was like, no, not really. No, but the models,
dark.
like the fiends and that character that we have seen are just brilliant. They're
so
creepy.
You liked the fiend, like the look of it and everything.
Love them.
I'm not like the best judge of Slaaneshi type of models. So.
I can't imagine better sculpts for them.
Wow,
I really
that's saying
can't.
something.
I can't. They're absolutely perfect. I mean, they have like leggings and like they have the jewels hanging down and the crisp details. They remind me very much of kind of going back to the Juan Diaz, like the golden era.
I knew that name was going to come.
Did you?
Oh, yeah, you have
It's
to.
almost
You're
like I've been
talking about
recording
Slanesh.
with you guys for a couple of years. But
when you talk
just
about
that
Slanesh,
detail.
you have to, yeah.
Yeah, he was. I think he took Slanesh from like kind of meh to
Yeah, I agreed.
Well, like the Fiend thing you're talking about, one of the things that they showed on the sprue is that if you don't want to have the boobs hanging out, it has like these like an armor plating.
Oh, I
that
didn't
you can
realize
put on
that.
that side.
I did not realize
Yeah.
that
Wow.
either.
And so it's really cool that you can kind of PG-13 it yourself if you want.
Oh,
right?
that's
If you-
interesting.
Yeah, if you want to have it out there, have it out there. If you want to have quote actual breastplates that are on that side of the
Here, I'm predicting the next controversy right here. Tournaments that don't allow the nudity in the Slanesh model. Did I just open a can of worms?
It's a strange world we live in where you can have like filleted bodies
Right.
and
Right.
guts
No boobs.
and just
But that's
like
okay.
that's okay. Heavens
Genocide.
forbid you show
Yeah.
a naked breast.
Yeah.
Right?
It's
It's just-
exploding. But
Well, 6 of them, but
Right.
whatever.
or like the keeper of secrets with like an eye in
Yeah,
the nipple.
exactly.
That's so I'm just
looking at
excited
me.
about that.
Just looking
at me.
Obviously that new Chaos Jump Pack Lord.
Oh,
so
dude.
good. The Black Legion.
And of
looks
course, I've been
good.
reading those Aaron Dembski-Bowden Black Legion books. I'm like, damn it, Carl, I see why you like these guys so much.
Yep.
Damn it.
Oh.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I don't want to paint.
They're
another-
so
I
good.
don't want to paint another Black Army.
I don't want to paint black, but I'm going
Even with
to.
the airbrush.
And I'm
still-
going to.
Yeah,
But
that model is goodness gracious, man.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Jumping with the spear.
Jumping
he's
with
so
the spear.
good.
Yeah,
Oh,
the
it's
spear.
good.
And he's got like the big, like he's some mouth of Sauron type character.
Yep.
He's got the Vox caster, like he's just coming down. About it.
he looks
So
I'm telling you.
good.
And I'm telling you, you're going to see.
And they
You're going
like
to see a new Baden model. I'm sure of it. And he's going to be big. He's going to be almost Gilliman size.
Once
we're-
Chaos.
I feel we're building to that point, right?
You think it's
Just
gonna
with
be
just with
almost
like
Gilliman
Blackstone
size?
I think so.
Fortress
Yep,
models
yep,
coming
yep,
out,
yep.
and then like this one, which they classified him as a herald of the Black Legion,
Right.
like, of the War Master.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
He's
in
conquering
that
it
like
for a Baden.
yeah.
Right.
So I don't know. I think like he's heralding
I'm
something.
telling you,
He's
to come.
heralding
Yeah.
something coming.
need to
He's
Yeah.
heralding the coming of
I
that,
read
right?
book 1. I haven't read the second one.
Well, I think Games Workshop
Yeah.
knows that a lot of the Chaos range is pretty dated at this point, and it's also all regular sized. And we're obviously seeing with the new Plague Marines, with the new Black Legion models,
Yeah, you can see those 2 Black Legion guys are basically.
they're big.
They're good size.
They're big. Yep.
Well, I mean, there's an upscaling going on, and they've worked it into the narrative. but
Totally okay
there's-
with it.
and that's
Yep.
fine.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yep.
And somebody recently was talking about, there's this, and you're telling, it was the picture of the formation with
Yeah.
and it had all Primaris Marines, and you're saying, so you're not going to get rid of regular Marines. They're going to
Eventually.
The writing is on the
Yeah.
wall.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
pretty sure.
Now,
Yeah.
it's going to be many years that they
Right.
phase these out over, but I think it's indicative. We're not
Yeah.
seeing new regular Marine releases for a reason, because everything's going to shift.
We're kind of skipping ahead, aren't we?
Yeah. No.
Well, then you
Okay, so back to after the Vigilist Weekender. Justin, that's you.
That's me. Yep.
Adon, let's go to you.
So it was Vigilus and also the Blood and Glory. They had some releases and stuff
The
too.
RPG.
What?
The RPG?
No,
Or
no, no. I'm just at that event. They had.
Oh, Blood and
events.
Glory, the event.
Yeah, they had.
didn't realize
they
they
had
had-
releases there too. Yeah,
is it
reveals
Blood
there
and
too.
Glory is also,
That's Ben
That's also
Curry's.
the RPG. Yeah.
Was also the name of the RPG.
I think that's the name of the RPG.
Oh well,
Though
that isn't
bought
what I
into
meant.
it.
But
okay.
but I am looking forward to that too, and the things they were talking about with regard to the RPG, and so I'm interested to see how that system runs. But for me, it's Justin mentioned a lot of my stuff, and we talked about the Gene Stealer cult dude who was trying to bomb Warhammer World. But for me, it's Sisters. I'm so geeked about
it's Wrath and Glory. is
Wrath and
the
Glory
RPG.
is the
Sorry.
RPG. Okay.
I get those two confused. It's too many glories and too much blood and wrath.
Yes.
Too many skulls.
Yeah, Sisters, man. I'm just I am so excited about what they're going to be doing with it and how they just kind of just drip and drab the stuff out,
Yep.
and
Yeah, because so far we've seen the different heads.
right.
Weapons. I think we've seen weapons.
Did we?
I
see
seem to remember seeing
I
some
can't
weapons.
Maybe
I
not.
don't know.
But we've been
We've
seeing
seen some.
We've seen the
sample,
heads
Stratagems.
and weapons,
a sample
right?
actually
like
model,
bolt.
like a full-on model,
Right.
And then obviously, if you go back and you look at Celestine being released, and
Yeah.
the 2 girls with Celestine.
Yep, Celestine
They
and her
look
fly
amazing.
girls.
Right.
They're going to be
Good
so
models.
dynamic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're going to break that second edition mold.
Well, look at
just
the
throw it away.
the dynamicism, or what do you call them? How dynamic the models are on the Age of Sigmar range. Some of the Stormcast stuff that's all spiraled up, and the
stuff they can do with the CAD design nowadays.
and the Yanari woman with all the stuff floating around her and stuff. They can do so much stuff, and we already saw, like you said, Celestine and the Fly Girls. They already are very, very dynamic. It's going to be amazing. Because when they redo
really
the Seraphim,
exciting.
they're all going to look like the Gemini. And
I think it's going to be a very popular army. I predict it's going to sell very well.
I think it's going to be one of those ranges very akin to the Drukhari, where the models, like, even if you thought this is just me, like,
go.
like, throwing stuff in the dark, but I think it's going to be one of those ranges where even guys like me who aren't really interested in it initially, at the thought of Sisters, are going to see these models and go, holy shnikes. And the reason I say that is because, like, look at Drukhari. Like, how long did it take for those models to come out?
You're asking
13 years.
No,
Well, at least
years.
1 year.
Yeah.
2 years.
1 year. That's so cute.
It was a couple.
13 years.
13
It was a couple.
Holy,
Yeah.
holy crap.
And so there was a time where you would get a codex every 4 years.
Yeah. Not the world I live in.
No.
Yeah.
So just picture yourself all those years, like, in your head, imagining what these things are going to look like, and
that's-
it comes out.
like, maybe there's like a leaked model that comes out, but then they never release that model, and you're like,
Yeah.
what
Holy
the-
smokes, yeah.
So I really think that this range is going to be that, Adon, and I'm super excited for
yeah,
you,
I
and
think
I'm
it's
afraid for me because I'll probably end up doing it too. And
Yeah, I mean, just think of the models they have now, right? And how would they modernize those?
Yeah.
I mean,
and like Carl said, we've seen it with Celestine.
yeah,
and
I mean,
Gemini.
the Sisters Repentia, right? The Penitent engines, the
plastic
Plastic
Retributors.
Penitents.
I mean, it's
freaking good,
it's
dude.
going to be amazing.
You
And
don't
that's
gotta- you don't gotta
not
pin 'em.
even knowing what the new stuff's going to be.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm just,
Yep. You better sell like half that chapter.
Austin,
I think everybody's thinking I'm going to say Calgar.
how could you not?
Hey,
I know. Calgar looks great.
That was, as soon as they
Marnius.
released that, I was like, guess I picked the wrong week to sell my
Literally a week after.
seen out of
I was so
airplane.
excited for Austin.
Yeah, I love how they like did the homage to the older
Yeah.
models
Yeah,
of like
yeah.
the Jersey Shore fist bumping in the air, Calgar, like, but just like made
awesome.
him bigger.
They should have gone throwback to the original where he's sitting in the chair,
Oh,
and
yeah.
just flying around, punching things.
That is such a
would've
good illustration, but his two guards, I think,
guards
the Vitrix guards, I think, with
Yeah.
the
Are
shields
so amazing looking.
I think they might, in my mind, kind of steal the show from him.
I love their pose.
They're that good, huh?
Very
even though the other
Romanesque,
one's
yeah.
a mirror of
Yeah.
the other one, but I love that you see a
they're
left-handed and right-handed guy.
Yeah.
Yep.
But just the pose they're in, so good looking. I was blown away when I saw those guys, and I thought, mwah.
and
honor
controversial,
guard, yeah.
controversial as we'll get into,
What?
Why is it controversial?
because he's been primarisized.
But they
Well-
said that from the very beginning that it could happen.
They didn't.
They did.
They
I'm
didn't.
not too worried.
It's in the
Justin.
codex.
I'm
No,
not
it's not.
worried either. You got a
You
sweet
show
model to
me
paint
where
up.
in the
Yeah.
codex
All right.
it is. It is
All right.
not in print anywhere. Where it is somebody at GW said it in a panel that yes, it could be done. I promise you, I have looked for it. It is
Okay.
not in print
All right.
anywhere. Now, that being said, of course they're going to do it. They'd be stupid if they didn't do it because they're going to sell these models again.
course.
Like, of course they're going to.
Ah.
I mean, without a doubt. You know, I
mean,
think it's
and
I have
awesome.
no
And-
issue with it. I have
but
absolutely
did
no
like-
issue with it.
I did like the audio around it where they were like, I went into this, whatever the chamber was of
Right.
blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And it sounded like it's dangerous to
Right.
do. And I was like, oh, that sounds pretty awesome.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then looking to the future, can you imagine like Primaris Mephiston? Maybe that's the reason we haven't
Holy
seen we haven't
smokes.
seen a Mephiston model.
You
in
just
so
blew my
long.
mind.
What's his name from the Imperial Fist?
Dorn
Lysander.
or Lysander.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Imperial. Oh, my God.
I do want to say for the record though, like that models aside, that was not the one that stole the show. It was a Chaos jump pack.
Really?
I
That's
agree.
interesting.
That
That's
I,
right.
I,
You have in your show notes. You're like,
yeah, that
the talons
I've been
of Horus are
kinda-
insidious.
Yeah, I've been kind of flirting with the idea of Black Legion since I began my hobby journey here. You know, I've always liked the Boys in Blue just from a nostalgia standpoint, but
Have you read Talon of Horus yet?
I have not read book 2 yet, but book
Telling
1
you.
is so good.
Super good.
So good. And
Insidious.
that model, I was like, I know I'm going to go Sisters of Battle 2019.
But maybe a little Black
just
Legion
Black
kill team.
Legion, kill team here and there. Yeah, we'll see.
Well, the way I
So,
justified it to myself when I did mine was you have to have the other side, right?
Right.
Well, this is why I did Black
It's the yin
Legion.
and the yang,
I-
right?
I-
So
The yin and
Everybody's
yang.
go, oh,
Yep.
the Ultramarines are the poster boys of blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
You know, okay, great. So I did those, and then I was like, well, what's the poster boys for Chaos? That's Black Legion.
Black Legion,
Right?
right?
I'm
Way
going
to
to do
go.
those guys,
Yeah.
you know? And so that's why I had started my Black Legion army.
yeah.
So, yeah. But now I kind of put that on hold because I know those bigger ones are coming out. I'm waiting.
Yeah.
I do wonder, like, God, they're milking that Abaddon thing, huh? Like, when are we seeing this model
That
already?
is a dated model right there.
All right.
Yeah.
It'll come out.
It'll come, I
It'll
know,
come,
but
yeah.
cheesy.
You know, the one thing I will
Crazy.
say about the Primaris Marnius Calgar, though, is that, like, his current model in the Terminator armor is still a really good
It's a
model.
really good.
Yeah, it is
And with that purchase that I got from you,
Yeah.
I got one fully painted.
Yep.
There's
One
I
not
want-
painted.
a metal one not painted, and I also have a fine cast that I painted.
Oh, wow.
So now I have 3 Calgars.
Calgar, take me away.
Calgar, take me away. And I'm about to get a Primaris Calgar.
And I-
so
I-
we'll
and I-
see.
and I will tell you,
Nobody
I'm
under the age of
actually-
40 knows what you're talking about.
I'm actually, that's true. God rolled. I am actually really proud of the paint job that I did on that Calgar.
It's really
He got-
good. It is
he's
really good.
Pretty good. So-
I tell you what, that fine cast.
the metal.
Anyways, yeah, that's all.
I'll give you like $2 for them, and I'll grind them up and have them under the base.
Use
of one
it
of
as
my
a
night-
base
yeah,
scene,
and he'll just be
yeah.
Won't sell them to you just based on principle.
do it. It's the only time he's going to see table use.
All right, so let's just we're gonna take a break. We'll come back. We've actually got 3 more in-depth questions coming up, more in-depth than these, but we will be back in just a couple minutes.
Hey, this is Big Nasty B from Life After the Cover Safe, and I'm at a mall talking to strangers about Table War. Table War develops some of the most innovative products for the miniature wargaming and hobby industry.
And I develop pictures.
That's great. They develop things like the Fat Mat.
Who's Matt, and why is he so fat?
Well, first off, Mat is not a person. The Fat Mat is a tabletop gaming surface, and with over 40 different designs, Table War's Fat Mat has become a community standard.
I got a Surface Pro. It's like 10 inches. By the way, I'm meeting my friend Simbon. Do you know what that is?
No, but I do want to tell you about the Table War Tower case line.
Oh man, towers are so huge.
Well, it's not that kind of tower. It's the original modular, all-in-one display, storage, and transport system for all your tabletop miniatures.
Wow, you're really smart. What's your relationship status?
Well, it's complicated, but you know what isn't complicated?
Chili dogs.
This is true, but also the Macromat.
Oh geez, not that guy again.
The Macromat is a one-of-a-kind, innovative photography backdrop, perfect for collectibles, hobby miniatures, and small works of art. Its durability, portability, and functionality in one inexpensive product.
I wasn't paying attention to what you just said, but do you validate parking?
No, I do not. But if you want more information, head over to tablewar.com and check them out.
All right, and we're back. We're continuing our Warrior Lodge episode, and question 4. So,
Yeah, this is an interesting one.
it seems like some in the community get very upset every time there's a new Primaris Lieutenant released. It's inevitable that people say, oh, great, another Primaris Lieutenant, to go with the 6 others that they've released. What are your thoughts around the dearth of Primaris Lieutenant models and how the community is reacting to them? And who wants to go first? Wow. Okay, Don, you're first. Nobody wanted to go first.
Well, no, I
choice.
mean, I
And
wrote
then there's a second part to this question that as we go, I'll kind of go into that a little bit.
and I wrote some notes, some thoughts down about it. But and I can see it. I can see people being upset about, really, the next event model is another Primaris Lieutenant.
Mm-hmm.
A couple things to remember. One, they sell more Marine models than
All other models combined.
all the other models.
All other factions combined. At least that used to be the case.
That used to
We
be.
don't
I don't know if
that's
it is
true now.
right.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's true now, but they sell a ton
Yeah.
of Marine models. All right, and yeah, how many lieutenants can you have in your army? But here's the thing: not everybody can get to every event.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, there's very few people are going to get all of them,
Mm-hmm.
right? So you may only have 1 or 2 that are available to you, depending on what things you can go to, right? And well, yeah, I think it would be cool for other factions to get an event model. That's sure, but lieutenants are nice buffs in the thing. I'm partial because I was a lieutenant for so long, but in the end, it's just like the dice with the ones and the sixes. The symbols on the ones and sixes.
I saw that.
Right?
That's really a thing.
They're an extra. It's something extra. If you don't want it, don't buy
get
it.
it.
Just
Exactly.
move on.
Right?
It does make one question certain choices that are made on their end. But yeah, you're right. Don't buy it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be
You
Vote
don't got to
with your
catch them
wallet.
all. We're not playing Pokemon.
Yeah.
right.
Right.
It would
Exactly,
be cool to.
yeah.
It would be cool to get like an Eldar, warlock or a or a Death Guard dude or whatever. But ultimately, it's an extra thing. You don't want it, don't buy it.
Okay, Justin.
I would agree with Don. I would say too, like, just give that feedback to Games Workshop because we clearly have a CEO who's listening to these things. So instead of going on some forum and complaining, just send that feedback to them. I'm sure other people are. I think
In
that
a
Marines
respectful,
are also
appropriate way.
very much like you said. Marines are very much like the bread and butter of the company. So it makes sense that they're going to be selling things that make them money. I also look at it as if I was in that Marine player's shoes, I have all these amazing models that I don't have to really use as lieutenants. These could be veteran sergeants, or they could be whatever in your army.
Captains
It's just
or whatever,
more
yeah.
cool Marine
Just
models.
offers more
Yeah.
variation, especially when you're looking at kits that, in general, they're not as variable as the old Marines.
Right. They're
used
single
to be.
pose. Right.
Yeah. Austin.
I'm not going to disagree too much there. I personally, if you don't like it, don't buy it. I mean, your wallet's going to speak probably louder than most voices anyways, but for me, being an Ultramarines player,
You're loving
there are
They're not ultra. I will say
They're generic.
they're not.
right?
They're
They
just
are-
general
they're
space
generic.
marines,
Right, they're generic. But
So,
I mean, it's a
for
Marine
a point, we're at Anthony's house, and he ended up picking up the 500th store,
Right.
One for me, and he gave it to me last night. And today I was looking at it and thinking to myself, well, how many HQs are you running in your army any one time? But
Again, dude, those would make good veteran sergeants.
it'll be a sergeant in an army,
Yep.
and just kind of kind of make your army look cool and
Right.
dynamic and
More
different.
variation is great.
I'm not going to get worked up about it, personally, and there's bigger things to get worked up about.
Speaking of getting worked up about things, so this will kind of lead me to the second part of the question. And Don, you raised an interesting point, which was be respectful when you give your feedback and this kind of thing. So recently, the Warlord Titan for Adeptus Titanicus got announced that it was going to be released in its own kit with a sprue that had weapon options, and people lost their mind over the fact that
It's not all included.
the kit, the weapon sprue, was not going to be made available separately. And so they were like, I had magnetized my thing because we were told this was going to be done separately. There was, again, a lot of vitriol, a lot of anger on the Facebook page for Forge World about this. Ultimately, Forge World said, we are going to release, we've basically redirect. We've heard what you said. We are going to release this sprue separately. And people, I was literally at the point where I almost thought, I'm disappointed they did that because I feel like you're rewarding
Bad behavior.
You're rewarding a negative approach. That being said, I'm glad they do it. It's the right business decision for them. But I know for a fact, when you send that kind of feedback, they ignore that. Like, they tune it out. They're used to seeing that. They tune it out, and they look for a reasoned response that is, hey, this would really benefit you, and it would help us. And can you, we're kind
Something
of disappointed to hear that you're not going to do this. Please throw my name in the hat for the group that wants this to be done and would purchase this. That said, I've said before that the video game community tends to spew more vitriol than the 40K community.
That's certainly the reputation.
I have said this. I have seen, and if you read reviews on, say, Steam of video games, you can see things where there are people. The funniest review I ever read was one where a guy was saying, basically, I played this game and it gave me cancer because it was so bad.
That's so bad.
Whereas our game
really
literally gives you cancer from all the fumes and the resin dust. And
I would put up an example of the current reactions to say Fallout 76, whether warranted or not. As an example, Fallout 76, released by Bethesda, is buggy. It's got problems, and people are losing their mind over it. And they're out $60 because there's a refund policy. Blah blah blah. But do you think this holds true? Are people just who are passionate about their hobby, just passionate about their hobby, period, regardless of what their hobby is? Or do you think maybe our hobby doesn't have that level of negative feedback to it? And if I'll go first so I can give my opinion. I think that in general, probably, especially with the new CEO, with the new direction the company has gone, I think that you are seeing less and less. I feel like the community, and it could just be that I'm in my own little echo chamber of the independent characters in our Facebook group,
which is awesome.
That we appreciate and value what the company's doing. We see the changes they've made. We see where they came from and how they are responding and reacting now. And I can appreciate that much more. And I think any negative feelings I had get assuaged by the fact that, okay, their heart is in the right place. They're trying to do the right thing, both for the business and for the gamers in the business. That's me. I think in general, the community sees that. And I think the vitriol has dropped significantly from where it was in 5th, 6th, 7th edition. Yeah. That's just my take on it. Justin?
I think it's still very much alive.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've joined several Facebook groups, like the, whatever, I won't name them, but I've joined some and lasted a week, and I'm like, I'm out of here. When people are it's just blanket statement after blanket statement of this is horrible, this sucks, even before it comes out at times. Like I remember a group I was part of saying like this book is going to be horrible, like this one guy, and going off on it. And I think it comes down to moderation too, It really does.
Let's not go down that road.
For those who are in our group,
it really does.
You know why Don and I are laughing at this point.
God, I've been in this hobby so long, not to like toot my own horn, but I've seen the Dark Ages, and I've been in the trenches where it was like, dude, is this ever coming out? And a company that was like very much ivory tower.
Yeah.
And to see them now.
Don't tell us what
I
you
walked
want.
to school 10 miles in the snow, uphill each way.
Yeah, I mean, it's been waves. And obviously I worked for the company, so I saw, a lot of things from the inside. And it is such a beautiful time to be a Games Workshop sycophant, as we're
that's what I get
called. It's like, look, at the end of the day, we all have things that we're not happy about, and
sure,
and it's okay to say that. But if that's all you are is just like this sucks, that's horrible, this is terrible, find a new hobby, dude. Just find what makes you happy. At the end of the day,
do you think these?
Maybe complaining makes them happy.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah,
do you think that's what makes them happy?
Professional
Find
kvetcher.
setting yourself on fire happy then.
Oh, jeez, Louise.
Do something else.
Have another beer, Justin.
A few minutes ago, Justin, you told me to keep going to the gym because I've been going to the gym and working out. He says,
"No, I didn't tell you. I said, how is the gym going?"
No. That's not what I'm saying. But then you said that's great. You should keep going. It's a great stress reliever.
Sure.
Right? You said keep going to the gym, right?
Yep.
It wasn't a command.
No. But what I'm saying is
you too can be sleeveless.
Maybe
I love it when you drink when we podcast.
But maybe eventually, maybe these people should go to the gym, get rid of some of that stress.
Yeah,
I think at the
gym.
I think it's so. Right?
At the end of the day,
find other.
And I'm not.
Yeah, I don't want to be negative, but at the end of the day, our community, this type of hobby is very selective, right? Like there's a certain type of people that
very niche,
very niche. So it's fine, but just, I guess, filter yourself and realize that you are in a golden era of Games Workshop.
Appreciate the good that's going on.
That's
right.
Awesome.
I'm going to side with you, Justin, that you give somebody a forum to complain about something. That's the first thing that's going to happen. You look at the internet these days with a Yelp or any kind of review of a product, right? They're a lot of times they're not going to talk about the positives. Going back to the dice rolls, I only remember the ones and the twos that I roll,
right?
Not the sixes, right? But consider how this company has, I don't have the history like you, Justin, but I was kind of around reading through that. And they're reaching out. They're engaging the community through Facebook. They're making jokes that are playful, that are comedic. They're making awesome commercials.
We didn't even talk
about
They're
listening.
The Noise Marine commercial.
Oh, that is so good. Yeah. But they're listening.
Yeah.
They are literally taking your feedback. If it's constructive, be constructive so we can all get to the same place that we want to be to.
We're all going to have things we don't like.
And we're all going to have things that we might not like.
Changes and decisions that you're not going to like. They're not going to make everybody happy. They can't. But I think when you look at
the big picture
and their underlying motivation for this, one, to make money, right? It's a public
it's a company.
It's
publicly traded. It's a company.
Yep. But two, they want people to enjoy things. Criminy, we've got a video channel now. We've got painting tutorials from guys.
You've got incredible celebrities of the company coming to conventions to do painting classes,
to play in events,
to physically play and engage the community. Like I can't get beyond that.
You could want.
Yeah,
I mean,
what are you looking for?
That are
not more lieutenants.
And if it's a Primaris lieutenant that you're complaining about,
so just
don't buy it.
You just said FAQs, but look what happened. If they are quote unquote late with an FAQ, people lose their minds. And I agree with Justin. Some of the folks
that it's still there.
Oh yeah,
it's still there.
And in fact, it's kind of funny because if you look at some of the official Games Workshop like Facebook posts and stuff like that, you can almost predict what people are going to say.
Oh sure.
And it's really funny because Loopy sometimes will like comment in like, "Come on, guys," stuff like that. And it's actually sometimes even more cutting than that. But one of the things that I like is that the Warhammer community folks, they'll throw some salt back now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
they write comments on those threads.
Some of those comments
make fun of the negative.
They make fun of the negative Nancy's. The lion riding the Thunderhawk with a Sister of Battle driver, and I mean the things that.
Yeah,
but
I think the best one was somebody saying about how they were crying about a Primaris lieutenant, and they said you must be crying because you've been painting so long. All these Ultramarines and your eyes are tired because you're just enjoying painting them so much. Like it was so funny what they said.
But the other thing is that a lot of times they'll say, "Hey, great point. Send that to such and such at gw.com or whatever," where they're basically trying to redirect the rage.
Yeah.
Right.
And there was a point.
You had that feedback. Send it to these folks. Right. Don't just rail on the internet. Because here's the thing. Back in and sorry, Austin, what were you going to say?
Well, I was going to say there was a time where they would just shut it down.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and
they wouldn't even allow you
what I was gonna get to. Right, so
that's actually my big
they just
fear.
like close it down.
Right. So here's the thing. Yeah. Back in the old days of internet forums, there was a Games Workshop forum, and they shut it down.
Yep.
Because it was so vitriolic.
Yep.
And so caustic. And so negative that you read it, you kind of go, why would I want to do this game?
Right.
When I read this stuff, right? And I think it was, yes, they weren't paying attention. They weren't listening to what people were saying. They weren't being responsive, and so that kind of fed itself.
It does,
right?
Yep.
But that's why that's why I get so annoyed when I see it now, because like
it's hard not to get frustrated by it.
Yeah, because they're trying, right? They're trying. They're not going to hit it right every time. You're not going to hit it out of the park every time. Even something you think is a great idea is going to fall flat on its face. Necromunda book only available in the set. I mean, there's going to be things that you do that just don't work.
Now being addressed.
I was going to say, they're being addressed.
With all of the updates in that book, it's brilliant.
With the gangs.
Yes.
Book on top of that.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. Yeah.
Brilliant. But my point is that it's annoying because it's like they're doing it. They're really trying.
And they didn't get to your thing fast enough. They didn't release Orcs in Orktober. They released it November 2nd or whatever it was.
Even though for
33
the first
days
time
later.
ever, we're going to have all the books under one edition, updated.
You want your thing. We all want our thing right now.
Yeah, somebody's got to be last, right? And I thought it was kind of cool that they said, you know what? We're going to call it Orktober. And every frickin' day, there was something else about orcs. and they really bought into it. The orcs invaded.
People just didn't get a model
the Imperial
every
Standard.
day, so
I mean, I do see the side of it, of like, here I'm an Eldari player, and I'm like, can I please just have my plastic aspect warriors?
yeah.
For the love of Christmas,
Right.
Another Primaris release, Lisai. I get it, but
here's the thing. I think with those Primaris lieutenants too, I think it's kind of, hey, it's easy for us to make a Primaris.
Well, yeah.
lieutenant.
yeah, and they have those little.
I think they probably just shift the arm a little bit, add that component.
Well,
Right.
here's the thing. Models
And there's
are,
probably a lot of people.
models are
Most
2
people
years
have
out.
Space Marines are. They're going to buy it.
Right. Models are 2 years out. Right. They're designing stuff that you won't see for 2 years, maybe longer.
Right.
So, when they were doing the Primaris stuff, they probably had a whole bunch of different ideas, and it's easy, like you say, it's easier for them to just bring them out because they already had them in the can, quote unquote.
Yeah.
Right.
I wonder if they're just manipulatable. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I don't
It's
know
3D,
enough
yeah.
about how but I got to imagine you can look at the model in whatever 3D program they're building it in. Say, I want to shift this arm down to this position, this arm up to this
Yeah.
position. I swap out this. Maybe I have to sculpt one little piece of it.
Right.
The guy holding his helmet, which looks cool.
Cool. That was cool. Yeah.
And then, okay, boom, I've got a new model. There's bonuses in mine.
But I think looking at the big picture, though,
Yeah,
you
but
have
let's go back to the
all
big
these
picture.
like releases. Yeah, a lot of them are Marine related, but look at what the company has done to release all these books, one
Yes.
after the other after the other.
Yes.
And I think once like that big picture is complete, then you'll start seeing the company. And this is just me guessing.
I agree. I
That
know
they're going to
you're
go back and say, yeah, those aspect warriors, and God
really
knows
do need
they
to update.
do need plastics.
I would be shocked if
And-
they actually do not have at least some of them already kind of modeled.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
So just be patient and
And love what we have right now.
I guess
'cause
it
it's
wasn't,
amazing.
I wasn't looking.
Yeah.
I wasn't
Enjoy it.
looking for us to, give advice about it or anything. I mean, that's kind of not where the question was. It was more just like, do you think that the community's tempered at all? And I think, like I
Yes
said,
and no. I think it's
we're
yes
a
and no.
bit of an echo.
It depends on
chamber.
the community.
We're a bit of
Yeah.
an echo chamber in the sense that our group has a very specific mandate, and it's to support the podcast and the positivity of the podcast. And if you don't like that, well, maybe you're in the wrong group. In a way, we isolate ourselves like that. I get it, but that's okay. I'm happy with that. And the great thing about that group is it offers Ian, for example, Austin. Ian just hooked up with Eric Beers.
Yeah.
You were telling me, oh yeah, he hooked up with some guy
Yeah.
and they were playing Kill Team, and I'm like, oh cool. But the thing
So
about
it extends to geographically,
Yeah.
right? Like beyond the podcast.
Well, I went
like,
on a business trip to Jacksonville, Florida, and played with Neil.
sure,
Had a great
But
time.
Exactly,
My
yeah.
point there is, you in general, because everybody has the same attitude in that group. Hey, I'm going to go out here.
you know what you're going to get.
I'm probably going to get a very positive
Yeah.
experience.
Can
from
only
this
be a
game
good
that I'm
thing.
playing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Really is.
But yes, it's out there.
Okay. Well, I don't
out
join those other groups
Yeah.
specifically to avoid them.
Yeah,
I
it's
stay
out
out of
there.
the cesspools.
But to answer the question, yes, it's out there.
Okay.
Yep.
I don't disagree that it's out there. I still feel like video games probably were.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Question 5. So Paul Archer in our Facebook group, speaking of our Facebook group, made a very interesting post that I wanted to kind of address verbally here. His post was all about what was the number one thing you want to achieve from the hobby? And if you've already achieved that, what is it? And I thought this was just a really interesting question on our Facebook group, and it spurred a lot of great conversations.
Yep.
And I kind of wanted to carry it over here. So thanks for that post, Paul. And my response to that, I kind of meandered in my response initially. I was like, well, I wanted to hold Thousand Sons Army, and then I wanted to hold this, and I wanted to hold that, and I did that, and I did that.
But it's unachievable because
I
an army's
did that.
never done.
That's
Exactly,
one of
yeah.
the great things about this hobby,
Right.
is that there's always a next thing that I want to accomplish.
It's that journey that we talk about quite a bit, right?
And those can be small accomplishments. It can be like, I want to paint up a new HQ for my army. It can be large accomplishments. I want to start a Sisters of Battle army
Smart man.
and do that. And ultimately, as I kind of talked about all these things, and I said I wanted to be more involved with the community. I wanted to build something bigger than just myself and my gaming group. The podcast exceeded my expectations, exceeded Jeff and my expectations.
Yeah, I
Then
think you nailed that
think-
one.
and then
Yeah.
went beyond even that. We have this community. I wanted to make friends. I've accomplished that. And I said, ultimately, I think what I want to achieve with this hobby is to make it a healthy environment for people and a fun environment for people. And I want to continue to champion that. And so that's like what my objective is with this hobby. Love playing, love doing all that, and I want other people to share in that experience.
So would you say, to put that in writing, you'd want to be a hobby champion?
Sure.
No. and then it's official? No. That's Carl Tuttle at the Independent Characters.
There was a point where we were doing a game day. It was either here or the old house, Don. And Jeff and I think Zach at the time were here talking. And I was laughing. Like I was playing a game with somebody, I was laughing. And Jeff turned to Zach, and he told me this later. He turned to Zach and he goes, I wish I would play this game and have as much fun as Carl's having at that table over there. Because like every game I play in, as Austin, you saw when we played, and Don, you and I played a lot. Yeah.
But not me.
Not Justin.
Not Justin.
I'm getting to that.
That's the bonus question 6, right? Yeah.
The reason I brought those two up is because they're the most recent games I've played.
I know.
But every time I play, like, to me, it's a social environment. It's fun, and it's important to me that my opponent's having fun too.
Yeah.
Right. So that's me.
So thank you for rolling those 5 ones.
I love you, man.
You see these 2 fingers?
How many Venoms were in that last game? Not a one. And we had a great time.
We're playing again.
No, and now we're playing again.
Actually, the game you and I played with your death card was super fun. Like I was like, oh, these things are. It was a great game. But it's important to me that my opponent is having just as much fun as I'm having. If they're not, let's figure some way to make that more interesting.
It's good to have in the back of your head.
I just read Austin's note.
Okay, well, let's go to
Austin then.
Austin, what is your objective? I haven't read your note. Hold on.
Oh, jeez.
Well, that's perfect segue.
I'm not going to read it. I want to hear what you say. Okay. What is your objective in this hobby?
To have a Primaris Lieutenant full... But that's not true. That's not true.
A company of Primaris Lieutenants.
Yeah,
100 of them.
100 Primaris Lieutenants, all Ultramarines.
So
Just
send
boys
all
in
your
blue.
hate mail to Austin.
You can send your hate mail. Yeah, exactly. Right.
That tied in well.
I know. Yeah, good segue.
But on a serious note,
I honestly, I thought Paul's question was really good. I never commented on the Facebook post, but I've been thinking about it quite a bit, actually. And
You're a lurker.
I'm a lurker. I'm a lurker, but Colin had posted the picture where like his going away party, and that was the first time that I met like the larger group out here.
Right.
And that was awesome. And I thought, friendships, socializing, the positive, welcoming group for me and also my wife extended coming out to this community was huge. So I thought to myself, like, oh, wow, I think meeting people, continuing that positivity and welcoming more people into this game. But ultimately, I actually, like, over this past few days after reading that, I think for me, it's a little different. I think I really appreciate the scratching that creative itch. Mm-hmm. Something that I do not get a chance to do day to day in work with family, and something that I feel was like a bit of a void that was there. And something that I can work on personally. I can continue to get better at as I get older, and I can continue to do it as I get older, just like probably even better than golf, right?
Old like me. Is that what you're trying to say? I saw you look at me.
Not necessarily, Adon, but I feel like that was something for me that was missing. I love the game. And getting to your point, Carl, I like the idea of having a good time at the table. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And both walking away, shaking hands, and saying, like last week's game, that was a blast. Mm-hmm. I didn't care if I lost, won. had a good time. I learned a lot. I can't.
A lot of stuff died.
Yeah, a lot of stuff died.
Lots.
But like that's not where I'm wrapping my mind
Yeah.
with most of the time. It's really just getting down at that workbench and applying colors, and lately learning color theory and getting back to that creative side for me is really
so basically
important.
just embracing the journey of the hobby, really,
And just getting better every day.
Yeah.
Every hour that I spend every night and just getting slightly better. Experimenting with
Man, are you
inks
gonna
or
like this
washes.
class?
Yeah,
I can't wait.
I'm really excited. Yeah,
Shoot,
it is.
Yeah.
And it's something that I've been missing for a lot of years of my life. When I was younger, I would do art, I would draw, I would paint, and things like that. And now, being, as I do air quotes, an adult, I have a job that's not so much like that. It's more technical, more like scientific based. So I am like very prescriptive, and now I can get home from work, do my family thing, and then get to the hobby bench and then explore that kind of part of my brain and part of who I am.
Yeah, I would say embracing that journey.
Yeah,
man.
I really like that side of it. But really, like the social aspect, I really love too. So,
Justin?
So for me, I treat this thing as just much like life is just like, it's a hard thing to say I've done it all. I've reached the top of the mountain, because I think that
You get there and then you see, the mountain's higher.
Yeah. I mean, you can put things into tangible goals. So that's one thing that I've done for myself. I mean, from being a kid looking at White Dwarf, like I've always wanted to win a Golden Demon award, not necessarily a Slayer sword.
Yeah, see, that's interesting, because like I look at that and I've never felt like, I want to win a Golden Demon. I'm like, yeah, that's not where I want to apply myself.
Yeah. But that's a tangible goal that you can reach, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, hell, the first LA Games Day I placed models in, this was years ago, back in like, 04, 03, who knows. I got like 3 first cuts with nothing that was done.
Right.
That I knew, I was like, and I look at my skill level from then to now, and how much further I can go with this.
Interestingly, I think the community has gone further too, though. Like I think if
yeah.
you look at like the Golden Demons 10, 15 years ago,
it's all relative,
compared to
right?
now,
Yeah.
different styles too. Like things evolve.
technology, paint gets better, techniques.
But it goes back to that mentality of like, okay, if I'm going to do that Eldari Ranger to like
the best
to a Golden Demon,
which you've talked about for years, doing a model to the
Yep.
top of your ability.
Yep. And all my friends keep telling me like, dude, you got to do it. You got to do it.
Yep.
Like, I mean, I can paint armies. So
You-
for me,
you lose all the contests you don't enter.
it's true.
Words of wisdom from the oldest guy in our gaming group.
The long beard, the long short beard.
It didn't
This
occur
is
to
a
me
tough
you were the
episode
oldest guy
for Don.
until a minute ago, where you're like, you're looking at me and I'm old. I'm like, Don is the oldest guy in our group. I mean, not by a lot.
Go ahead, Justin. He interrupted you.
So carrying on with some
Before I
some
die,
positivity.
go ahead.
Before I die, hurry up! Limited time here at this table. And now with a new chapter, I mean, geez, look at like my hobby career of just being like this solo painter gamer guy who's privileged enough to become part of the Infinite Characters.
And now you're a
which
noob
opened
again.
up doors for what?
Now you're going to be a noob again as an instructor.
Now I'll be a noob again, so a new
Yeah,
chapter kind of
yeah.
begins with my hobby career, so to speak. So I'll be hopefully teaching people the best that I can to paint.
The good news is
amazing things in airbrush.
we won't even know if you're wrong at that point. Right?
You're going to be awesome.
Oh, we'll know.
We'll know.
He won't be though.
He won't. He's going to be awesome.
Here's the
Yeah,
thing
I'm-
I would say for you, just sidetrack about the hobby thing, like because I know you're kind of a little bit nervous about like the actual teaching like aspect
Until the
of
first
it.
one or two, yeah.
Yeah, but here's the thing: like
One or two
everybody
beers.
in that room wants you to succeed. So like they're all on your side. Like, they're all going to give you, this helped when you said this. This didn't,
Sure.
So
Yep.
nothing to worry about. It's all friendly audience.
2019 is going to be super fun, and I'm just honored to be a part of that team. So that's me.
It's a great team.
Really exciting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Adon.
Fun. That's my number one goal with this hobby. Fun.
Okay.
I'm totally not kidding.
And it depends. Like
I mean, whether it's running an event or being in an event or playing a game or doing, I want, my goal is to have fun, and I'm one of those people who I started with clicks games.
Yeah.
I'd be totally cool with taking something out of the box that's already painted and playing. just to be able to have a great game, right? That's why it doesn't really bother me to have somebody else paint my stuff. I don't care. I'll buy stuff off of eBay if it's painted nicely. I don't care. Yes, painting stuff is fun. I mean, I spent, hours putting concrete and Roller Downey inks on bases today. I mean,
But you had fun.
But I was having fun with it, right? And so to me,
Don's having fun with the actual hobby aspect of the hobby.
And there are times where, I sit down and I get in a zone. Like I built 3 Corvus Black Stars all in one sitting all together and I had a good time with it because I was in that zone. But for me, again, it's all about fun. It's just having fun, meeting people, having a good game, laughing about, rolling a bunch of 1s or a bunch of 6s or whatever you're doing.
I literally wouldn't let him take a picture of it.
Well, and then it was funny because somebody else posted a picture of 5 1s. I'm like, Carl, did you take a picture of it?
Nope.
But no, that is my number one goal because I got into this and my wife actually supported it because she saw that it totally took me away from a job that was super stressful and that it was not fun.
Yeah.
There are things in my job that were fun, but there are days that just are horrible.
Yeah.
And so
That's the beauty of this hobby, right? Whether you're at the table, whether it's a gaming table, a paint table, a bar table, talking Warhammer, you're not thinking about the stresses of life, right?
It's a good stress relief.
Yeah, and so that's when it all comes when I boil it all down and I think about all the different things that I want to get out of the hobby, that's what it all boils down to. Having fun with people, having fun with the hobby and the game, and that's it. And that's why I'm doing this too, because it's fun.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, as long as it stays fun, we'll keep doing it.
Yeah.
So final question. We're heading into 2019. What big plans do you have for 2019? Whether it's armies to paint, events to attend, other gaming related projects, what is at the head of your list as we go into 2019? And we'll start with Austin again.
Continue to push myself out of my comfort zone.
Yes.
From
Justin's
the
all
art,
about being uncomfortable.
Yes.
from
That's why I give him the
from the
hardest seat.
Slaneshi
I'm gonna
side.
turn you into a harp.
Oh God!
Dry hump your leg.
Oh God!
Have another something.
You in the dry humping.
2019 doesn't sound so fun, I guess, at this point. But really get out of that comfort zone for several aspects. The hobby side, creativity, really push the boundaries of what I know. Just put paint on models.
You're gonna love that class.
Stop worrying about screwing them up. Just paint models, experiment, have fun with it. The second thing, getting out of that comfort zone is with, like I talked about earlier, with Adepticon.
Yeah, your first big event, right?
Playing an event.
Yeah.
It's not so much for me the socializing. Like I feel like I can walk up to a table and handshake an individual and have a great time, no matter where they came from, who they are, what type of army, and have fun with it, and get beyond just like feeling like I need to like win at an event. I think just enjoy it, be in the moment. So that's kind of my 2019. It's not so much finishing armies. At this point, I have a couple armies pretty much finished, and it's more of just exploring some other things outside of that, I think, for me. So
Well, I think that CK is really going to push you like to into that first boundary of like really getting comfortable with the airbrush and techniques that you never even thought.
I can't wait.
And that's going to snowball. It's going to snowball. I can't wait to talk to you for a year from now.
And I'm really hoping 102 happens in 2019 at the Astronomicon at some point.
Yeah, we'll do
just
something.
Planting seeds at this
So
point.
you can, so you too can airbrush teeth on a model. Yeah.
That's what I'm looking forward to.
Justin, you?
So for me, two things. First and foremost is like just to become the best instructor that I can with CK and do the best job teaching people the art of airbrushing. That's my number one.
You'll be great.
Right now, so I've been buying all kinds of
Totally.
color.
I agree with it, Don. You're going to be great
Yeah.
at it.
I just can't wait to meet all kinds of people from like Canada. I already have like Canada and Minnesota and LA and all these places lined up. So just
Do you have
traveling.
a passport?
Yeah, I was
do.
going to say,
Yeah.
get your passport.
I'm actually going to try. I'm trying to get my wife to agree. Actually, she agrees in concept to go to the 102 class in Victoria, British Columbia, because that's the one class I
Please
couldn't
do,
take.
so I can have a familiar face.
Yeah, it'd be awesome.
Cat and Caleb will be there.
Yeah.
That's true. I think I don't think Caleb's. We'll find out. But that's my number one, and then number two, I'd like to place top 10 in a competitive event for 2019.
What size competitive event? Any.
Just a grand tournament.
10-man event.
A grand tournament. No. Just like a grand tournament
Yeah,
style,
okay.
like a 2-day.
Okay.
Because 1 days are for
Chumps.
for power level open war deck players.
That's me. That's me.
I'm all
I
there.
resemble that comment.
Yeah, all about it.
But yeah, I mean, Robert, my buddy, and I
That was awesome.
we play pretty bare knuckle boxing
Yeah.
matches and stuff. So we've been doing that for the last year, and pretty much primarily ITC. So,
MMA Warhammer.
So yeah, basically to kick ass and take names on the teaching table and the gaming table.
Cool.
Yeah.
Adon?
Yeah, so with Endgame closing and all the events going to be done at the end of December, and they're going to do a big sale on the 12th of January to get rid of a bunch of stuff. We have to kind of figure something out, and I don't know what. I mean, they messaged me and said, "Hey, we want you to have one of our nice tables."
Yeah.
And I was talking to my wife, and I said, "Hey, they
They're
offered
8-foot long tables.
Yeah, they're 4x8. They're beautiful. They're amazing." And I said, "Hey, they offered me one of the tables," and I thought she was going to say, "You're out of your frickin' mind. Where are we going to put it?"
Yeah.
Without hesitation, she says, "You absolutely have to do that."
Well, she knows how important it is.
And I was
Yeah.
like,
And that is the
Wow.
best. That's the best size too, like to have as your main
Yeah.
board, because you
yeah.
you have that 6x4 of
A
the
little
mat,
extra room,
right.
Yeah.
and then you got the 2 feet for
Yeah.
beers and
Well,
drinks.
well, and the
dice.
endgame
The
ones
endgame
have
ones,
actually
yeah.
have a tray that
Casualties.
goes in the end.
Yep.
They actually have a tray that goes in the end, and their
It
tables
fills
are really well.
the 2x4-foot section. The tray does.
Yeah.
And so you put your stuff on your side of the tray. It's separated.
Oh, that's perfect.
And
It's
then
really
let's say
nice.
you roll and you're I'm going to take that side. You just pick up the tray and you turn it around and set it down, and now your army's on that side. So
That's
you can-
perfect. That's
it's-
super cool.
It's really clever.
It's a really but anyway, but we got to figure out something to do as a group, and for 2019 I don't want to lose what we've had for years. I mean, Gallus
Yeah.
Crusade and the Fires of Sidonia and the Phaneris Signal and the Ghoul Stars and all these different campaigns that we ran, Inquisition Wars. I don't want to lose that part of it. I love gaming with the folks down here.
Yep.
I love it.
But it's a bit of trek for
But
you.
on a work day, it's a 2-hour drive one way.
At least that commute is bad
it's
because
horrible.
of the traffic.
Right. And so I love you guys, and but I can't do that on a
No.
work night.
No.
And so we got to find something, and I don't know what it's going to be, but 2019 I got to do something because otherwise I'm going to go nuts. So that's my
Open
thing.
up that garage, bud.
Yeah, I mean, I can set up if I end up with that 4x8 board.
When you end up with that 4x8.
Yeah. And I could have 3 tables running at once.
Yeah.
In the house, one in the garage because the 4x8's gonna have to go in the garage, and then 2 in the house. I could run 3 tables, but we run 7,
Yep.
6 or 7
Yeah.
in an event. So I don't know.
It's hard, man.
I love
It's
running
really
It's
hard.
events.
tough, man. I'm sorry.
I love
Is there
running
no
events.
other like decent sized game stores like close to you at all?
Not really.
Well, Black Diamond Games is almost as close. Is actually, I think it might even be closer than Endgame, but it's not. It's a completely different community. It's a completely different setup that they have. There's other people who are kind of running their events, and it feels kind of weird to. I
Come
would
and
want to
intrude, yeah.
intrude in. I do run Warhammer Underworlds events there at Black Diamond. The staff there is great. The owner, I've known him forever. It's not a bad location overall, but it's harder to get to, and my crowd that I play with all the time, they're not going to be able to go there. So I don't know what we're going to do. So I don't know.
Well, if we can help in any way, let us know. Speaking of events and that kind of thing, I have an amazing hobby space here. And so
Yeah.
for me, going into 2019, it's really about I want to host events here. I want to host,
Sweet.
I mean, for our group, right?
Yeah.
Right.
We ran the campaign that petered out because we kind of went through a holiday period and people scrambled. And I don't want to see that happen again. I want to be consistent about things. I have the room. I have the play space to do it.
We could do like a tournament here, no problem.
Yep.
Easy, yeah.
You know?
We could do again. I want to be clear. That's like if we were to do something like that, it's for people we know. It's for our group. I don't want to just typically invite strangers into my household. I'm doing it
unless it's a
bit,
CK studio.
Doing it for this, don't think it didn't concern me a little.
Although, like most of the people that are in there,
most
we know.
people that signed up, I knew, or members of the group, or that kind of thing. So I'm cool with that. But don't think I didn't watch every single person that joined. I was like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Because ultimately it is
home.
my house.
Yeah.
Cat put out a really nice message about please remember this is his house and he'll have family guests around and that kind of thing. But we can close off this area. You know, it's workable. Very, very much so for a class that size. But it's also I can run 4 tables in this room, right? If we want to get real tight, I could probably squeeze in a fifth, you know. Yeah. But I could comfortably run 4 tables in this room, which is 8 players minimum, unless we're doing team games. So I mean,
You could set up one hell of an APOC game in here.
that is.
Which when's the last time we did one of them?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Don's
Dawn?
talking about
Yep.
on the 15th, running an Apocalypse game up at Endgame is their last thing. The 15th, we actually have an event here, so unfortunately those conflict. But I do want to run an Apocalypse game. Austin and I talked about I want to bring out my Titans. I want to play
a nice themed Chaos on Imperial APOC game. Ooh.
Yeah, I mean,
Man.
we can absolutely do some. And the great thing about Apocalypse, it doesn't really matter who wins or loses. It's all about just the
having the
moments
fun.
and the excitement, blowing stuff
Right.
up.
Right.
And, you know, I'm absolutely going to do those things. And I'm going to need a Don's help for kind of figuring out how do I scale this so that we
There you go,
run
dude.
it in a day, right? People show up. You set up your stuff. Maybe you show up the night before. That's the thing. We have the benefit of that.
Yeah, we do.
Set up the night before. We start playing at 9 a.m. If you're late, you're going to start losing models.
Yeah, right.
So, you know, I mean, for 2019, I want to take advantage of this great space that I have and really kind of ratchet that up a notch and let people enjoy it.
Maybe some more IC Unbound videos.
Yeah, I think we're going to do kind of, you know, fireside chats because I got the fireplace, you know.
I think it's a great
So we'll
great
start doing
idea.
some videos where we sit there and just chat about things and stream it live and that kind of stuff. So
Yeah, cool.
Whenever you guys want to do that, let me know. I'll set that up on the regular too.
It's a great studio, man.
I got to figure out how
it
to.
is.
I might have to spend a little bit of money to mic up some stuff so it sounds a little bit better.
Right.
Because
Well, I know a guy
do
who's
it half-assed. So.
Who can take care of you there?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, me.
Oh okay.
Yeah, he's really
Into video,
he can get
mic
you some
into
pop
video
filters
and
and
that
stuff.
kind
It's great.
It might take like 3 months, but you know.
I'll just go spend the money anyway.
Send me those SKUs again.
So that's the kind of thing. Oh my God, you guys! So that's the kind of thing I'm looking forward to this year, and that's what I'm going to be really pushing is events here.
Awesome.
So.
The guiding light of the podcasts.
All right, so we will. That's it for the questions. Let's go around. We'll be right back. We'll kind of summarize everything, and then we'll end the show. So thank you very much for joining us for episode 178 of the Independent Characters, and thank you guys for joining this evening. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks
It's been
for
a
having
nightmare
me.
to schedule stuff lately, but our next episode I've already teed up, and even the episode after that, like the notes are already teed up. So I'll send those to you. Episode after that, like beginning of January, is our review of 2018.
Oh,
Year in
yeah,
spirit.
I'm going to have to call in sick for that one.
That's a
People
4 hour.
People tend to like those episodes, and oh my God. this-
Speaking of
Yeah.
Games Workshop sycophants.
Yeah, well,
Wow.
here it goes. So, hey, listen, you know, if you like what you heard, please leave us a review on iTunes, leave us a review on Facebook, wherever. You know, let us know
Yeah.
what you're thinking. If you have any feedback that you want to give us, you can reach out to us on feedback and tell us what you like, what you didn't like.
Yep.
We do take those things under advisement, and also take a look at potentially joining our Facebook group if you like kind of the cut of our jib here. So,
No, just do it.
might be the
It's
right
no,
place
no,
for you.
no potentially.
Just do it.
Just do it. Like a Nike.
It might be the
Yeah.
right place for you.
That's a good slogan. Just do it, right?
We should.
It's done well.
We should
Well,
trademark that.
Unless you're one of these people who always post like the first or second negative comment on a Warhammer community
Then you're
post,
not
then that's
right
not
group-
the place
not
for
the
you.
right group for you.
Yeah.
Anyway, that being the case, I think we'll just go ahead and wrap it up here and start preparing for the next episode.
Yes.
So,
We're gonna start reading.
So until next time, this is Carl,
This is Austin.
And this is Justin.
And this is the Don.
and we're coming to you from the Astronomicon, where the best events in 2019 are going to be held.
And even you can have an entire Ultramarines army full of Primaris lieutenants.
And you too can become a flesh harp.
And where Endgame is always open.
Aw. We're going to miss you in game. Thanks
Yep.
for all the fun. This episode of The Independent Characters is protected by the Creative Commons license. If you have further questions as to its use, you can find information on the front page at theindependentcharacters.com.